people.
So confused, you feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, still unfriend me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up on the facts we true. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's
What's up, everybody? It's Ryan Weaver. I am on the Don't Unfriend Me show, otherwise known as The Dumb Show, with host Matt Spear. You guys can find the show at The Dumb Show on social media or thedumbshow.com.
Good evening, everybody. Percival Flag Company. The flags behind Olivia and I are made by Percival Flag Company. PFCflags.com. Jason and Katie are waiting for you. Stop by their website and order a very cool flag. The flags
Won't
behind
you?
Olivia and I are made by Percival Flag Company. PFC. Olivia's doing what she always does. Can't we just wait till the intro's over before we start doing all that?
It's Twitter. I can't get Twitter to pause or mute.
Well, there should be a volume over on Twitter.
There it is.
Yeah, just turn that sucker off, and then now it'll always stay off. There you go. Well, either way, we've got it done. Well, I guess this is a great way just to bring everybody into the screen since we're trying to... Once again, audio complications, folks. What's new? It's not Leroy's fault, but he went to Albuquerque, and that explains why he brought it with him, because that state's aside. What did you think of Albuquerque when you were there?
Well, actually, we didn't go to Albuquerque. I just wore this shirt on the drive back. We went to Lake Thurman. It's in South Carolina, and it was amazing.
But wait,
we had a couple of friends.
In Albuquerque a while ago, is what I'm saying.
I was.
Yeah.
And Albuquerque itself is kind of trashy. It's a little dirty.
It's a shithole.
Amen.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. But you went to South Carolina.
Yeah.
How was that?
Oh my God, it was so nice. We had a couple of friends who
celebrate the new. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say we had a couple of friends who retired there, and so we were invited to see their retirement home. And when we went, it did not disappoint. It is so gorgeous there. They have their private dock that leads right out onto a lake, and there was no one there. The way the lake is situated, it is mostly run by the Army Corps of Engineers, so there's very few public access docks. And so it looks like they have the whole thing private to themselves. It was beautiful.
How did you celebrate the 6-week abortion ruling that's now in full effect in South Carolina? Did you celebrate that at all by chance?
Well, I may have tried to make another baby, but it didn't work.
Yeah, well, we can hope. All right, folks, I got to get these things dialed in. So talk amongst yourself. Olivia looks fantastic. Olivia.
Yes.
New in your world, please. Olivia, don't go green light, and don't go to deer in headlights on me. Start talking and saying something, please.
Well, there's really nothing new. I guess Ethan.
That's it? That's all you've got?
Yep.
There's nothing new, huh?
We were on last night. There's not much change from last
Well, what's
night.
happened between now and last night? There's got to be one thing that you can bring to us while I fix this thing, because, you're partly to blame because you can't name your social accounts correct. Anything else? Well, I'm just saying, I was trying to get
Considering I started all the social accounts 2.5 years ago so I could follow you.
It wasn't 2.5 years ago.
It was in October of 2020.
Complete blatant lie.
When I started all of them, and I don't like any social media except Facebook. So all I did was enter in my name. It shows username for me, and I hit OK,
All right.
whatever.
Okay.
So
Well, considering that we just created those two accounts literally minutes within each other, you go ahead and accept that excuse. Anyway, do we have a bullshit anywhere? Can we play that? Just so you can-
how's that?
that's not accurate in any way, shape, or form. All right. So listen.
Bullshit!
That's right.
Bullshit!
That's much better. Hopefully everyone could hear that. Any echo tonight? Any problems tonight? Please let me know. I'm going to run just a quick test video, make sure everyone can hear it. Let me know. You're not going to be able to see it, but just give me a holler if there's any echo so we can fix this now instead of the middle of the show. I think we're getting it dialed in.
Hi, my name is Johnny, and I use he, him pronouns.
Hi, and I'm Conchi, and I use she, her pronouns.
And we're here to
Did
talk
everyone hear
about
this?
pronouns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not you. Not you guys. I don't care about you. All right. Let me know if there's any echoes. You guys aren't important if you guys echo. Olivia, we've got to make these focus things a little bit more effective when Amy gets back. So we need to have 2 and then 1. So here's the 2. I took Amy out, but I've got to add them back in. But these cells are great. Everyone seems to love them. We forgot to use them last show. All right. We got a ton of stuff to talk about. So you like South Carolina? Did you? Is there anything special you did in South Carolina besides just lay around in the water?
No. So no, we went on the boat. We did a lot of drinking. We did a lot of swimming. I got completely burnt. I'll show you the top.
Oh, dude, I
here.
can see
Hold on.
it. I can see it.
Look this.
Oh my Lord.
Right.
Dude, don't
It's
put those
so
headphones
bad.
on. It'll peel off and take your hair with it. I'll tell you though, your lighting looks fantastic tonight. That's probably the best lighting you've ever had. Or it's just that you've got some color. You're not so damn pasty. One of the two.
Right. That's exactly it.
That's what it probably is. Well, listen, folks, we want to apologize for being late. We're going to get this dialed in. It's tough. There's a lot of moving pieces. And now that we have Olivia and she's controlling a lot of stuff, and I think we've got it. I think I've got the settings where I need everything to be. It's difficult. You got to understand, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different inputs, 7, 8 with the hosts coming in audio, and understand one of those is not a closed channel, or one of those are assigned to one of the 16 different inputs that are available, and they loop. You've got to somehow isolate the loop and find out where it's at and go through like 32 points of checks. And Leroy is, he's used to this. And Livy and I get into a scuff every single time. It always happens. I'm a dick. And then she responds. And of course, she's perfect and a princess. And then Leroy sits there and he goes, okay, great, whatever. And then we finally get it. And here we are. So we're doing our best. Appreciate you guys being patient.
How do you comment on Twitter?
You can't. You can just hit the speech bubble on the actual video itself.
There is no.
Yeah, there is. If you get back out, you have to leave the video, and then you hit the speech bubble on the live show without it being opened, and you can reply on that thread. You have to treat it like a picture. Okay. Here, I'll show you. Just so you know. Just so we have it. By the way, folks, I'll give you a quick little update. Olivia's email. Olivia, why don't you tell them what it is?
It is olivia@don'tunfriendme.com.
Olivia, wow, you said that with a lot of passion.
I'm trying to figure out Twitter.
Liv, look over here. See this?
Yeah.
There's the live video. See it?
Yep.
Okay, actually, no, that's not the live video. See this? That's the live video. Right here. Hit that speech bubble, and you can type something.
Okay, so where do I see the rest of the comments if anyone has commented?
You click into the video then. Right here. They'll all be under here. See? Hey, guys. See, I'm under there. I'm watching the video, and I'm commenting at the same time. Look.
Hang on.
Hey, guys. You click into the video.
Hey, guys.
Oh, now it's, hold on. I got to mute this thing. See, I'm pulling on Olivia. Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was Olivia who did it.
Yeah.
So you click into it, type in, hey, guys. Type in something real quick.
Where?
Look, I'm in the video. I'm watching the video. See the little
So
speech
am I.
bubble? Hit the speech bubble.
There's no speech bubble.
I don't know. Maybe it's just
It
me.
might just be you because you're a mod, but I have nothing.
Okay, I don't care. Let's figure this out later.
Yeah,
All right, folks.
I'm done with Twitter.
So
for right now.
no, you're not done for Twitter because you have to represent Twitter because most of my followers are on Twitter. So you can't do that.
Well, no, I'm just until we figure it out. There's no point in having the screen up because.
Here, do me a favor. Just turn your computer to me real quick and let's get this done because
Okay, let me get Twitter back up. because
Yep, get
I've
Twitter up.
already
We're just going to do this
exited.
right now. Do it live because I don't want anyone. People are on Twitter and they're watching. And if we can get the same results like Rumble, we finally started making a little bit of money on Rumble. So, folks, if you have not went over to Rumble, well, that sounds hot. Keep turning it. Okay, great. Oh, hold on, guys. I'm going to go over here and help Olivia. Okay. Scroll down. It's right there. There's a speech bubble. No. Up. Up.
Where?
Right underneath the frickin' live show.
Okay, that's replying to you.
No. Just type something. Hit the speech bubble. Type something. Hit enter. By the blue button. Now, click into the video. Not there in the lettering, so it doesn't turn off mute. Get out. Back up. Back up. Listen carefully.
Oh, I wish I could mute him. And just tell everyone about my adventures on the way back because they were terrifying.
Go up.
My wife was
Get
white
down.
knuckling it the
Right
entire
there.
way.
Click that lettering text. Now scroll down.
We ended
There
up
it
right
is.
outside Cincinnati, and there was some construction or a truck that had pulled into my lane, and just as that was
work?
happening, my wife
There you go.
shit her pants.
Okay, we finally got it. Twitter's confusing.
There's a reason why I have never been on Twitter.
Yeah, but yet now you're a part of the show and you're the personality of the show and you run the social media, so you got to. That's the way that works, sister. I'm not envious, but this is the gig. This is a gig. Hey, tell everyone about your possibility of having the new job opportunities.
Well, I just applied to, there's a new Montessori school right down the street, and they
Really?
watch basically daycare for 6 weeks old to 6 years. And I applied, and I got a reply from the hiring manager. So
Nice.
Yeah, because
Congratulations.
Olivia's entire focus in life has been
children.
and to be education and to get into schooling.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting. So that might be that. And then also there is a very cool local pet store, which is they're from Canada.
Nope, different one.
Oh, okay.
This is local.
All right. Well, either way, they're cool. And they're it's a nice store. And yeah, they're looking for full-time help. So
Yeah, I don't know how the family's going to react working full time though. I haven't worked full time in 12 years.
well, you've always worked full-time because
Well, out of
you're
the
a mom.
house full time. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Out of the house full time.
Yeah, but moms do a lot. And, don't sell yourself short. Leroy, tonight we're going to talk about a few things. I know we haven't had a chance to do it. Now that Olivia's on Twitter and she knows how to reply, it's shared on Twitter. Tonight we're talking about some cool stuff. Texas bans controversial surgery. Olivia brought this to our attention. She's going to be covering this for us. And also South Carolina signed 6-week abortion law. Also what Olivia is doing. It's pretty cool.
I like
Olivia's going to be doing both of those. I'm going to be covering Toronto pitcher forced to apologize from the Toronto Blue Jays. This one's kind of got me a little frustrated. And then the Democrat Socialist Convention, hilarity. I've got some clips from a previous Democrat Socialist Convention, and it is freaking hilarious. If we have some time, I also want to cover the
gold.
Oh my God, it's so good, dude. And then we've got Pride Month. The United States Navy has their overall pronoun video done, and we get to see this,
Ooh, yay.
which is going to be fun. And I guess I can switch to me. I'm sorry. And then what else? Oh, I've got a whistleblower document to show you all. Who's
Now
excited?
that I'm interested in.
Yeah,
that
here
has
it
me
is.
sporting wood. Yeah.
Yeah, what's great about it is right when I show Leroy what it is, he's going to jump off the call.
Hold on.
How about Commander USN USNA Annapolis, Maryland, and Civ USN Chief from Washington, D.C., and Civ USN DNS USA email.
Wow. Jeez. How about giving
wanna
me
jump-
something that I can only say no comment to? Son of a bitch.
So this is an internal email reaction to the pronoun video from the commanders in the United States Navy and the Master Chief, who Leroy and I both know, which is interesting. I sat across from him at a Toyota something for heroes. I don't remember what it was. But it doesn't matter. And then obviously Leroy's, yeah. So I want you guys to listen to this, because the way they talk about people who are pushing back is interesting. You wonder why their recruiting numbers are down. So we'll play that too, and I will share that with you. And that's pretty much it. So we have a busy show tonight. It's gonna be fun. Livia, you want to kick us off with the Texas Senate approval of the transgender surgery and what that's all about? Let me get the video cell open real quick so we can take a gander. Got everybody up. So I'll give you a little history. This is Governor Greg Abbott. And I'm going to start doing something. Instead of showing you Fox and CNN, which I think there's terrible spin on. By the way, Olivia, your picture looks awesome tonight.
Thanks.
Leroy, you look like caca. So
I always do.
You always do. Oh, and by the way, just keep the volume up just a little. Give me a sound check one real quick. Don't turn it up
1,
yet.
2, check 1, 2. All right.
All right. I don't think that's too bad.
Too light, too soft?
It's just a little soft, but I think it's because your mouth isn't close to the mic more than anything. That sounds better. All right. So I'm going to try to bring in local footage because although still crap, not as fake newsy. So when I do these, I'm going to do my best not to bring in Fox or CNN or MSNBC and try to stick with local news. I know Fox 7. Olivia and I lived in Houston. We know all the stations out there, and they tend to be fairly moderate in their design. So Olivia, walk us through that. What is it? What's going on in Texas? How does this possibly impact national and federal law? Go ahead.
Okay, so the governor has signed in a law.
It's Governor Abbott. Right? He's in a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. A lot of you may have seen him with Ted Cruz and others. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he most recently went against Beto O'Rourke and just mopped him for governor of Texas. And that's where we're at. So Greg Abbott, go ahead.
Okay, so Texas Children's Hospital, the law is discontinuing the hospital's gender treatment program for minors. So the hospital can no longer do sex changes on minors, which I think is fantastic.
When we say sex changes, are we talking castration, chemically?
It just says gender treatment program. So I'm going to assume it has a lot to do with hormone therapy and any type of surgeries that go along with
chemical castration, et cetera, et cetera.
That's what I would think.
All right. Well, I think you don't need to think that because that's true. I mean, this gender affirming care that they're talking about is all inclusive to these things. And some states limit what can and can't be done. But now Texas has said it's an outright ban. So do you know, was this a piece of legislation or was this governor mandate? Do we know how?
It's a Senate bill number 14.
Okay, great. So it's a piece of legislation, which means that once it's amended into the state's constitution, that's it. That's the way it is. Then they're going to have a 3/4 majority to overturn that. Let's watch the video.
Yeah, the CEO is a little butthurt about the whole thing.
Let's talk about that after we watch the video. Okay. Fair? All right.
I'm sure.
Let's watch this real quick. God, no echo, please.
I think for many folks, it feels like their worst nightmare is coming true.
So this is Kathy Oakley, HRC, so human resources, of course. All human resources people all eat from the same trough, which is wokeness. All of them look the same. I've worked with human resources quite a bit. It's interesting. So she has something to say. So here it is.
The Texas Senate passed Senate Bill 14, filed by Senator Donna Campbell.
I got to go in there and actually lobby for Comcast. So we took a trip down to Austin, and we got to lobby. That's where I had a conversation with Dan Crenshaw and quite a few others, and we got to lobby for Comcast. So went in there and got my suit and tie, and we had to, explain to them why broadband and net neutrality of why it was unfair and things to that effect, and ultimately got to rub shoulders with state legislatures. Cool. Yeah, it was fun. Here we go.
New Braunfels. It impacts the state's doctors and the transgender minors they may treat. It prohibits medical professionals from providing puberty-inhibiting drugs, cross-sex hormones, and surgical interventions to children under 18 for the purpose of altering a child's biological characteristics. It also requires the Texas Medical Board to revoke the license of a physician who does so and prohibits the use of public funds to provide such care. A representative for Human Rights Campaign says this bill is discriminatory against transgender individuals.
We are really disappointed.
So here's HRC Human Rights Campaign, but also these are the people who are licensed human resources in your companies, corporations, who force mandatory training and everything else. I look at it this way. She's still social distancing. She's working out of her bedroom. To me, it's like you immediately know who's woke and who's not, or just people who have a higher level of work ethic. It's like, get back into the office. But obviously, there's a lot of businesses that aren't. And I'm not one to talk. I mean, I haven't went and driven into a job in almost 9 months, but it's a little bit different what I do and what they do. Is it would be nice to see an HR official or somebody who's speaking on behalf for human rights to actually be in touch and involved with humans versus sitting in your bedroom via webcam, but just my personal opinion.
And on behalf of the many transgender folks who live in the state of Texas who will not be able to access gender affirming care because of this law.
The communications director for the Republican Party of Texas says, quote, children who are not old enough to buy cough syrup or watch an R-rated movie are not old enough to consent to sex changes that will mutilate them for life. Oakley says that doesn't happen.
Most trans kids, most kids who end up ultimately receiving gender affirming care when they are old enough to do so, most of them know about their gender identity at a very young age and express it at a very young age. And gender affirming care for kids at that very young age is not medical. It's completely social.
Senators also voted to remove an amendment. So some Texas children cannot finish their gender affirming treatments they've already started.
That language was at least a small gesture to show people that their medical care wasn't literally going to be ripped out from underneath them. Having that provision be gone, I think only emphasizes the cruelty of the measure.
A representative from the Republican Party of Texas says, quote, removing the amendment allows the bill to protect all Texas children from gender modification procedures while still allowing doctors to properly wean or taper off those currently receiving treatment.
So there's a whole bunch to unpack there. Some of the things that
a
strike
lot
me is, one of the things that strikes me is, you're sitting here saying, oh, well, this bill's going to do harm to children, but that's really not the concern. To me, lopping off genitalia, whatever, she's lying. And it's just like this whole thing that not that the LGBTQ movement is a big deal, because it's not to me, and I don't care in the sense that if you want to have shirts and whatever for adults, more power to you. You're a part of the community. You're a part of the country. Good for you. I support you. I love you, whatever. But the moment you start putting it into children's lunch pails and toys, that is a completely different thing. And to me, you lied about it. And this is, Olivia and I know this. We are a part of LCPS, the Loudoun County School District. We know the books that they've been showing. We know the things that they've done. We know the lies they've told. We know that there's indictments being handed down for lying about rapes that took place on campus from transgender males in female bathrooms in 2 different locations. The father that was beaten up. Brandon Michon struggled to go ahead and bring attention to this. My struggles to be and arrested myself for something that every single person said there is no way, shape, or form that you should ever have been arrested for what supposedly happened and the lies that were told. All of this type of stuff is being targeted at parents and calling them domestic terrorists. It baffles me. But that's the big one, is you sit here and say, oh, well, the harm that this is going to do to kids. To me, it sounds like we're taking kids out of harm and specifically self-harm by offering them something that they may need, which is the mental help of this and the support structure from parents versus going to do what we always do with mental health, which is solving it through surgery or chemical dependency or alteration. And I think we give enough psychotropic drugs to influential and young minds that are trying to form and are trying to grow. And we introduce harmful psychotropic drugs, which alter them forever. And I think it has a lot to do with why we see so many mass shootings. Leroy, Amy, who wants it first?
My name's Olivia.
What did I say, Amy?
Yes. Hey, we didn't do our intro videos again.
Hey, Olivia Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me Show here,
We don't
folks.
need to
Go.
do it.
No, we're doing
No, we don't
it.
need
Olivia's
to.
fine. I'm doing it. I've got the power.
Backpedal.
Forget it. Nope, I'm doing it. Olivia Spear from Olivia Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me Show. No, you don't do it. I get to do it. That's the way this works.
Well, you normally
No, too
say
bad. No, too bad. Shh.
you
I'm going to mute your mic.
introduce
I'm going to
us,
mute your mic. I'm going to mute you. All right. And Leroy Jenkins, folks, from the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Outstanding. And my name is Matthew Spear. I'm the host of Don't Unfriend Me. That's Olivia. I'm Matthew. Here I am. And there we are. Okay, great. Everyone. Oh, look at Leroy's in
All right.
sparkles. He's in sparkles. Power struggle, folks.
I am very
Who wants it
sparkly.
first? Leroy, Olivia, who wants it first?
Olivia,
You can
go.
take it, Leroy.
Leroy.
All right,
Yep,
well,
Leroy's
I'm
got
gonna
it.
start-
Chivalry's dead.
I'm going to start off with her bullshit explanation of saying that it's denial of gender affirming care. The fact of the matter is that those drugs that they would sterilize a child with, that would block their transition into puberty, those aren't things that are found in nature, right? You can't simply say, look, Timmy now says that he's a girl and he's 5 years old. If Timmy isn't old enough to get a tattoo, then Timmy is certainly not old enough to decide that he is never going to be able to have kids, because that's what essentially what those puberty blockers and what the beginning of the transition process does. And I think that that's a safe move. I think that lady was definitely talking out of the side of her mouth, and I wouldn't trust that for anything. That's my take on it.
Fair enough. Olivia?
Yeah.
I know you've got an opinion on this.
Well, those drugs are so dangerous for the kids. I mean, they're going through puberty and they need the hormones of their biological sex to develop their bodies, their brains, and I can only imagine, well, I can't imagine what the effects, long-term effects of blocking the correct hormones in a child's body, what it's going to do to their brain and their brain development. And
Right.
and what happens if they decide a few years down the road that they don't want to finish the change, and then they end up having children? What's going to happen to those kids? Are those kids going to have autism or mental retardation or even worse? I mean, the long-term effects of these drugs, you don't even know what they can do to them.
Yeah, and one of the things is I'm tempted to completely strike this lady down from the HRC and show you some of the photos that I'm looking at. I can't. These are kids. I mean, we're talking 13-year-old girls, 10-year-old boys who have scars across their chest where their breasts are gone. And I'm not talking, listen, I had a huge scar on my back from my fusion, and that was these scars going all the way across from armpit to armpit, completely removing portions of their bodies. Now I'm going to take a photo here that's going to take off heads because out of their protection, and I might get in trouble for showing these things because you're not going to see these anywhere. It's unfortunate. I don't want to see these things, but for this lady to say, I mean, this person right here is 12 years old. Two of them.
Oh my God.
I mean,
these are two.
They're a girl that age is still developing. I mean, what do? Cut everything out so where it can't develop anymore? I mean,
who the fuck did that surgery? Dr. Mangala?
They're not fully grown or developed yet. So I mean, how are you taking them out when they're not even there?
Here's one photo of one of the guys who was involved. And this, I just don't even feel comfortable showing some of these things. I mean, if you want to go on Twitter. And what they're doing now, which is tremendously dangerous, is they're removing calf muscle, the wrap in between the bottom of the knee to the ankle. They're removing that skin and leaving exposed muscle and using that as a fake phallus. and they're removing forearm skin. And I'm talking an entire segment of the forearm in order to create a fake penis. This shit is Nazi Germany, disgusting and sick. And you can go and look at somebody I can show who is an adult, but to me, this was a beautiful, smart, intelligent actress who now is what's the name? What, Elliot?
Ellen
Ellen Page
Elliot.
Elliot Page.
Elliot Page,
Right.
who now has the surgery as well. And you can see both breasts are gone and there's been surgery. And I'm not judging. She's an adult. He's an adult. And can do whatever they want. And I support that. But the point is,
It still looks like he's
Not
got
to do it
boobs.
to kids.
that's the whole point, is kids are seeing this. I don't care if he or she has boobs. That doesn't bother me. I don't care. It's none of my business. My point is that children are seeing this and saying, oh, well, I want to do that. I want to go ahead and do that because I'm uncomfortable, or I like dressing up in men's clothing. Today's the day that I'm going to get those things lopped off. It's experimental butchery on children.
It really is. I mean, you need a specialized plastic surgeon to do it correctly, because I know women who've had to have double mastectomies for breast cancer, and they didn't look like that after the surgery was done. It was done classy to where there were barely any scars, as best it could be. And so to have that huge scar across their chest, that's just completely wrong.
Well, it's just, if you look at the way the scar looks, right?
Right.
It's not pleasing to the eye, and it shouldn't be. Women with breast cancer, but once again, that's a necessity. We're taking something that is absolutely required, a double mastectomy, and saying, I'm going to remove your breast so you can live, versus I'm going to remove your genitalia or chemically castrate you or remove your breasts or give you a fake penis, and you can't walk this back ever. It's almost like one is trying to save a life and one is trying to destroy a life. Go ahead, Leroy.
Yeah, because it's done with the intent to allow that person to pretend that they're a male for the rest of their life when they're not. You can say what you want. I would get a bajillion pieces of hate mail for this, but Elliot Page, whatever, that's not a man. I mean, they may present as a man, but you kind of have to have the ability to create sperm cells in order to claim that title. That's just biology.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's challenging that, right? I mean, I will call him Elliot Page, and I'll call him. That's fine. But the moment that you want to make me pretend that you understand the struggles of prostate cancer or testicular cancer, or understand what it's like to go off into battle, and never served in the military, I'm going to say you're full of shit, and I'm not going to go ahead and say I identify as a veteran. Can you imagine what's next? These people are. I played Call of Duty. I suffered PTS. I suffered some anxiety as a child, so therefore I know what it's like to be a veteran. I mean, that's next, right? People claiming veteran disability because they weren't able to go into the military, so they said, well, I'm disabled veteran then because I wanted to, but I never was able to, and because the military said I couldn't, that I'm a disabled veteran. You don't think that's going to come anytime soon? You don't think some asshat is going to try that card?
It.
Yeah, I mean, that's next.
I can't even imagine the amount of pain drugs these kids have to be on as well.
Oh.
And because, like I said, I have friends who've had the double mastectomy, and she was in serious pain for 2 to 3 months afterwards, like agonizing pain. And the hardcore pain medication she had to be on just to get through the day. I mean, I can't imagine what those kids got to be on top of the hormones. I mean, that's just, it's screwing with them for life.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to switch you. I was looking something up, so I apologize. One of the things a lot of people are asking, well, real quick, Leary, they're like, who pays for this? Well, this is actually paid by insurance companies. They have to have a psychologist, a clinical psychologist who's actually involved and specifically looks into the psychological well-being of children and get that signature. We watched that video where that doctor's like, oh, we can do it. I got to send you to a psychologist. I have a list of names of people who will absolutely do it for 10-year-olds. The problem is that this has become a money-making scheme. Remember, this is the way people who had breast augmentation were treated. These people were called butchers. These people were called blah, blah, blah. And there were a lot of, until the government comes in and regulates this type of thing and understands like what Texas is doing and putting a kibosh on it and saying this is an adult decision, you're going to have people who are trying to rush to the game. It's the same thing with cannabis sales in Colorado, is that what you started seeing and what I said would happen is the quality of cannabis would go down and there would be a saturation of the market. So then it became around the potency of marijuana. So people would start lacing it with different things, creating hydroponics, started, putting other type of chemicals in their marijuana. And then we saw this. I mean, literally a week after I said it, Colorado got slapped and they shut down like 26 different cannabis locations for lacing their marijuana. So they had the competitive and addictive edge. This is what happens in this type of plastic surgery kerfuffle. And you're going to see this get worse and worse, and people trying to slip children in and push the boundaries until we say, okay, well, 10's a little young, but let's do 16. Okay, 16 wasn't the right number. Let's do 12. And then 10 doesn't look too bad because they crack that one 10-year-old case, and then it becomes, precedent, becomes acceptable. We have to draw the line somewhere. And this is what I told the LGBTQ community the other night. I said, you done fucked up. You crossed the line with Target. You crossed the line with Bud Light. And we're just here to let you know where the line is. We're okay with the LGBTQ community. We're okay with you having 17 different frickin' letters in your little group. We're okay with you having 64 different genders and thinking you're a rainbow spotted unicorn. The moment you come after our kids, the moment you take away women's rights away, the moment that you go ahead and make me pay for your surgery, that's when we draw the line and say we have a problem. And it's not bigoted. It's not homophobia. It's simply saying, here are our boundaries. And those things have to be established. Go ahead, Leroy.
Absolutely. And I would add to that when what we're talking about is making that distinction between full-grown adults who have the sound mind to make those decisions for themselves. That's fine, right? We're not talking about that. What we are talking about, right, are the children, right, who may still believe in a Santa Claus. They may still believe in an Easter Bunny or Tooth Fairy, right? Because they're not old enough to comprehend any of that yet. They have not taken in what reality really is. So when that person says at 6, 7, 8, whatever, it doesn't matter. When they say, oh, I'm a girl, daddy. No, and those are rough conversations. I almost feel like that part of the impetus to this, part of the catalyst was a parent's inability to parent. Right. At some point, parents would have to sit down and say, look, no, that's not how the world works.
That's it.
And, you can say that, you identify as whatever. But that doesn't change what's going to happen to your body in 5-10 years. When you go through puberty, right? When you start to bring on the adult body, you're going to feel a whole lot different. So saying that you feel like that now does not guarantee that you're going to feel like that in the future. Let's wait this out. Let's see what the hormones are going to do to your body, right? And have those conversations. And they may be difficult, but that's part of parenting, folks.
Yeah. So it's a really good, but Olivia, you go with yours and then I got something to talk about.
I got two things. Honestly, I think any parent who lets their child go through this and get the surgery and start the drugs, I think they need to be held accountable. I mean, if we brought alcohol into our home and let our children drink, we could get into trouble for letting our children drink, even though they're in our home, because it's child endangerment.
Right.
Yeah.
That just pisses me off. The other thing is the whole insurance companies. This really pisses me off. I cannot get LASIK surgery covered by insurance unless I'm considered legally blind. I can't frickin' see 2 inches in front of my face without my contacts in or my glasses on, but I'm not considered legally blind. So insurance will not cover it. So I have to pay for the entire out of my pocket. Same with Hayden. Hayden gets strep throat like every freaking 1 to 2 months. She's had it since she was 1 year old, was the first time she had it. And in order for insurance to cover getting your tonsils taken out, she has to have it 6 times in a period of 12 months. she always seems to hit that 5-month mark or 5 times. And she always seems to get it that 6th time after the year has passed. So the whole 12 months starts over again. So until she this is a necessity. She's missing school. She's in pain. She's missing choir. I mean, she almost missed her play this year because she had it a week before her play. And it's killing her voice. But it's not a medical necessity to get her tonsils out because she hasn't gotten sick 6 times in 12 months. So we have to pay for it out of pocket to get this done if we don't want her to suffer anymore. That's fucking bullshit, in my opinion.
Yeah, nice language.
Yeah, that's how I feel right now.
No, listen, I completely agree with you. I want you guys to take a look at this real quick, and I'll blow it up so it's easier to see. I don't want you to say anything. I want Olivia to look at this, and I want Leroy to look at this. And then I want the viewers at home to tell me which one they think. You've got one circle that's bigger than the other.
Hold on, let me put my glasses on.
Yes, put your red and blues on. So now they should look purple and purple, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't do
So
that.
you've got 2 circles here. Now, I don't want you to answer. Now, please don't say anything, Olivia and Leroy. And one of these is bigger than the other, and I want you to tell me which one you think it is. So binary choice, simple. One's bigger than the other. And those in the audience, please do me a favor and tell me which color you think is bigger and which one is smaller. You can close one eye, you can cover it up, you can do whatever you want to do in order to decide, but I need you to tell me which one's bigger. Audience at home, go ahead and put in your answer.
I have an idea.
Lock in your answers down. Well, it doesn't matter. One of them, you got to pick one or the other.
Yeah, I know. I have my answer, but I'm not sure. Okay. But I have my answer.
So red. Okay, so everyone's answering. Let's see, red. Okay, I guess this is a lot easier than I thought. Red, blue's bigger. Okay, red. All right, we've got a blue. Okay, now it's red. Holy shit, red.
Is this like the dress thing?
Red. No, there's no trick here. It's a matter of just fucking which one's bigger.
Okay.
Red and blue, is red larger? Same. Red's bigger. Red. Okay, Olivia, go.
I thought blue was bigger.
Okay, Leroy.
I think that's an illusion. I think they're the same.
Okay. So I'm here to tell you that one of them is bigger. So I don't understand why people keep saying both. You need to pick a color. Red or blue?
If I was going to pick one, I would say red.
Okay. And red is the right answer. The color is red. Everyone
it's giving me a headache.
Everyone take a look. Everyone take a look at it again. And what is the last color you see in the color spectrum? What color is the sky?
Blue.
That's the last color you see in the color spectrum. What's one of the first colors you see in the color spectrum?
Red.
That's correct.
Red.
So red is going to look decisively smaller because it's the first color that comes, and the blue is obviously creating that imbalance. So it makes the red appear a little smaller, but it actually, if you look at the top of the red circle, do you see how it's closer to the edge, and on the left it is, but the blue is not?
Yeah.
That shows you that red is bigger.
Okay.
Anyone want to challenge me?
No.
They're the same size. But I just bullshitted my way through that, and it sounded really convincing, and everyone's like, oh, I see it now, and it's definitely red. They're the exact same size. So here's the point I'm trying to make, and this is important, and this isn't my test. This is actually a psychological test, and it's how you receive information and how convincing the person is who's talking that can actually change your mind, even though you know the right answer. And a lot of you are like, red, blue, or maybe it's the same, but this guy's telling me one's bigger, so I got to pick one. I got to listen to this guy. That's right, I moved the ball, but it doesn't matter. The point is that your first presumption was correct, but because somebody's telling you something different, now, what if you're a child? And what if I told you that every single day of your life that the red was bigger and the red was bigger, even though it wasn't? How difficult would it be for you to transition your opinion when you're 18 or 20 or 25 years old?
It'd be very hard. Children are very impressionable.
Of course. Even adults are. So I want you to go ahead and I want you to think about that. When it comes to...
I knew that one was.
What?
It's called the Ash...
yes.
ASCH conformity experiment.
That's correct. And it's also very similar to the blue-eyed, the brown-eyed, and the green-eyed people experiment. but people want to conform to a simple thought and they don't like complexity. Instead of simply saying, I don't have enough data to go ahead and figure that out, they want to have an answer because they want to appear smart. The problem with that is that's where you get biases from. That's where you get, well, Donald Trump can do no wrong and he's a god. Why? Because I believe that. And I've been told that for so long, for the last 7 years, that I can't switch my thinking. DeSantis is evil because Fox News has been showing me commercials that say that he wants to cut Social Security and Medicare. So now DeSantis is evil. Oh, well, George Soros stood up and said this, so therefore he's paid off by DeSantis. Folks, stop believing. The red and blue pill is a mythology. It's a lie. You need to start asking more questions. And when you don't have enough data, that's when you stop, pause, and reassess. That's the lesson, and that's trying to help you guys understand. This is the same thing when it comes to gender affirming care. If you tell a child, yes, you are really a man in a woman's body, or you are a woman in a man's body, and the only thing to get out of from that is for you to accept and embrace because other people, including your parents, hate you because of who you are, this is the only way out. Kids are going to listen to you. So when they say, oh, well, shirts don't make kids gay, shirts don't want to have them become transgender, gay toys and lesbian toys, that doesn't impact children, then I wonder why you're marketing to them. If you can't change children and influence them, then explain to me why you're marketing to them unless you could. Now, either one of two things is happening. You're marketing because you have a future customer and you're trying to go ahead and make them a customer, or two, you're using them as a billboard for your sexual freaking conquest. Either one of those things is unacceptable to every single parent on the planet. So wake up. Stop saying that kids have the ability to conceptualize things from adults' perspective because they can't. It's the same thing that pedophiles do when they go ahead and they sleep with 12-year-olds. And the psychologists and the cops and the detective ask them the same thing. What value did a 12-year-old child bring to you? How did they challenge you mentally and physically? How did they make you into a better person? And the answer is, they didn't. Because they're incapable of understanding and conceptualizing what you need from them. Because you're an adult and they're a child. That's like you sleeping with a chicken or a goat. You're not getting anything from that. We have to be very careful with doing the same thing when it comes to giving them a massive amount of responsibility, an adult responsibility, and telling them that they have to comprehend it at this age. That's why it's dangerous. Period.
Yeah, kids are so impressionable. We know when either Hayden or Ethan is hanging out with a new person at school.
Yes.
I mean, their personalities change on the daily.
Yep.
Though I'm like, Ethan had a little attitude yesterday. We're like, who are you hanging out with? Who's new in your group? How are they acting like this? And I mean, Hayden even changed her personality based on a TV show.
That's right.
And it was when she had mono and she was home from school for 2 weeks and couldn't do anything but sit there. So she just binge watched Netflix and stuff. And she watched a show called Alexa and Katie. And her personality changed. And she started talking to me like those girls were talking to their mom on the show. And I had to, I put the kibosh on. I said, no, you're not watching it ever again. And once she got older and was able to, you know, because she was 8 at the time, and now she's watched it like 4 or 5 more times, the full seasons, and she never changed. But she was old enough to realize that I'm not going to emulate these girls. Yeah. But I mean, she changed based on a TV show. So of course they're going to change. An adult tells them anything. I mean, we tell them Santa's real and they believe it. For 10 plus years. I mean, of course they're going to believe it. They are told to trust police officers, firemen, teachers, principals, you know, doctors. We as parents tell them to trust those people, so they naturally will trust them. And if a teacher tells them they need to believe this, they're going to believe them.
And here's the counterpoint to the whole conversation that, oh, well, kids, you can't, you know, homosexuality and lesbian tendencies aren't the cooties. You're born with it. Then why are you so upset when we try to give pink toys to girls and blue toys to boys? Why are you so upset when we try to do the gender-specific categorization of our children that we've done since conception of man and woman? That there is a difference between the two sexes.
Sounds like it would grow out of it anyway.
Yeah, wouldn't they grow out of it? Wouldn't they ultimately? And then if it is born this way, then why do they change horses in midstream? Why do people come out when they're 25 but tried normal sex, heterosexual sex? Okay, well, they tried it or forced or were having a different life. Fine. Then explain to me why people are gay when they're younger, and then when they get older, they just decide to change and start dating women. If you don't believe me, Dylan Mulvaney's doing it.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention that.
Dylan Mulvaney has completely switched gears and is now saying, well, I came out and I was gay. And I was with women first. Then I went out and I came out as gay. Then I transitioned into a transgender person. Then it was non-binary. And now I'm interested and I'm becoming a lesbian and I'm very interested in women and I want to get pregnant. And you've got to wonder when people are going to wake up and just realize that this guy's fucking with us, right? This guy is just saying this stuff in order to get you to continue to click because people stop talking about him. He doesn't believe this. He's not wearing makeup anymore.
No, I was going to say that the video, he's got some like braid thing going around his head, but he's not wearing any makeup. Like none. And
he was never on any hormones.
And he doesn't look anything like a female in this video, but he was talking about how he's decided he wants to date women and he was talking to his dad about it. And his dad's like, oh, good, now you can get a girl pregnant. And he's like, oh, no. She's going to get me pregnant. I was like, what?
So at this point, this guy's just trolling, right?
I've
got all right, hold on. I've got the video. And I want to show it to you because this right here, it basically just destroys your argument. Now, people are going to be like, oh, wait a second. He doesn't speak for the entire community. Yes, he does, because he's been your spokesperson and you all were screaming about it. Don't give me this crap. This guy's gaslighting people. He's making a mockery of women, a mockery of the LGBTQ community. The guy's just an opportunity. You want to talk about grifters. I got called a grifter the other day. I'm like, explain to me how I've earned money illicitly. I'll wait. Bring receipts because I want to know how I have stolen, cajoled, or illicitly earned money from this show because that's ridiculous to say that. That's the dumbest thing ever. I love it when people say that. I'm like, I will show you my income tax. We lost $17,000 in 2022. We're going to lose like $14,500 this year. Liv?
It was actually more like 22 in 2021.
Because we had to start from scratch. And it's not like we're not making, but we're constantly reinvesting into the show. This show cost about $1,000 a month just to run with bandwidth and posting and ads and all that. Don't give me this crap. But here's Mulvaney. Listen to this. He's just gaslighting at this point. And this is absolutely disrespectful to the community. And if you're not going to cancel this guy or you're not going to hold him accountable, then you're literally saying that it's a choice. And I believe that maybe there's some people who are more effeminate or more masculine, or there might be a chromosome issue. Of course, that's science, fine. But to simply say that you're guaranteed to be gay or lesbian or straight, and you identify that when you're born is a bunch of crap. Otherwise, Freud and all of his thought process on human psychology, we wouldn't have nocturnal emissions. We wouldn't have the 12-year-old dreams in regards to the opposite sex. These things wouldn't take place. People wouldn't be doing it in college. They would be doing it when they're 2 years old or 3 years old. Come on, can we at least be honest? Here it is. Maybe.
So I recently told my parents that I may be a little bit romantically interested in women. And that was a big shock for them, considering the past 10 years of coming out as gay, then queer, then non-binary, then trans. And I think it was just a bit of a shock. So I tell my dad and he goes, well, I would love to see you get a woman pregnant. And I said, oh, no. She would be getting me. So I recently told my parents that I may be a little bit...
He's not even disguising his voice anymore. Yeah, dude, because when he would be in female form, he had the high-pitched voice and tried to sound like a girl. He's not even hiding it.
He's not taking any medication. He still has his twig and berries. Mm-hmm. This guy he's honestly... I got to give him props.
He's an opportunist.
He's just making money, and he's making money hand over foot over this thing. And honestly, good for him.
He's acting.
RuPaul has done it for decades. He's doing the same thing. And honestly, it's harmless.
Dennis Rodman did it. Why not?
He is trolling everybody. Everybody. He's just trolling you. And everyone's just like, oh, I hate Mulvaney. Honestly, the guy's a capitalist. I mean, good for him. He's playing a role, and people are paying him for it. I'm not worried about that. I don't care what Dylan Mulvaney does. What I care about is when you influence children. And Dylan Mulvaney doesn't have a line of clothes at Target. He doesn't have a bunch of toys at Target. He's not doing that type of thing. So honestly, what he's doing is just harmless. He's gaslighting adults. More power to him. Just leave the kids alone. That's my point.
Right.
All right, let's move on. Oh, unless you have something. Go ahead, Leroy.
Well, the fact of the matter is, if you're more likely to get prostate cancer over cervical cancer or then no offense, man, but I mean, for him to say, oh, no, they would be getting me pregnant. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
You could try as much as you like, and I would respect that, but that's not the way science works.
Yeah, Olivia goes, Ethan wanted to be Spider-Man. I didn't let a spider bite him.
Well, Amy Stamcombe says my son wanted to be Godzilla when he was 2, and I didn't take him to Tokyo. So I was responding with that.
That is so racist. Right. What about Mechagodzilla? Mechagodzilla was U.S. born. You're being racist.
That's Amy.
So Amy got flagged in the moderator group. So on the Dumb Nation, she posted some BS video that was from like the Netherlands and it wasn't US, and we got a strike for it. You guys got to be careful in the Dumb Nation group, please. Soon we'll be moving to Twitter as soon as I get authorized. Anyway, this Deep Dish Pizza has something to share with us here. She is from WJCL in South Carolina.
Deep Dish Pizza?
Yeah, that's her. Did you happen to see this woman in Leroy in South Carolina?
I'm looking at her.
Do you have her number?
No, but I wish I did.
I wish I did. Sorry, Liv. Don't look at me like that. I'm just teasing. All right, here we go.
In South Carolina, most abortions after...
No, she talked. Forget it. She was fine until she spoke. She has a lazy eye, too. What the hell's going on with that? It's a lazy eye. It's
6 weeks are now banned.
All right, so Olivia, what's going on? This is South Carolina. Governor proposed what?
They have banned abortions after 6 weeks with exceptions to incest, rape, and medical issues with the mother if it's harmful to the mother's life.
Did they put weeks on it? Glenn, we're just teasing. Did we put weeks on it by chance?
6 weeks is what they said. After 6 weeks, it's banned.
So the 6 weeks is obviously well shy of what Democrats want. Democrats are like, they want 15 plus. But here's my thing. 6 weeks. Olivia, you're a woman. Mm-hmm. Should that be plenty of time for someone to know they're pregnant?
It really depends. I knew the day I was pregnant with both kids.
But let's just assume normal. But let's not talk about let's just don't do anecdotal evidence.
It really does depend, because I've had friends who got pregnant right around the same time as me and didn't realize till they were 2 months along. I know somebody that was on the depot shot, and you don't have your period but every 3 months. And usually a woman knows when she misses. Well, if you don't have it but every 3 months, how do you know? You're not. And at that point, you could be anywhere from 2.5 to 3 months along by the time you figure that one out.
I've always thought that 8 weeks. I mean, that's when the heart actually, it's not just the chest cavity, but the actual heart is developing. And you start seeing, organs develop and everything else. Life is immediate, right? If you get to sit here and say that we can't eat venison and we can't eat veal, then you shouldn't be able to abort a baby. If you're one of those people that say we can't eat meat, you have to eat plants, even though that's a living organism, they're such fucking morons.
Well, I can tell you that when it came to making doctor's appointments for both kids, they would ask, when was your last period, blah, 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 to figure out when my potential due date would be. And they didn't even schedule the first doctor's appointment until I was 8 weeks along.
Yeah, I think if we're going to make exceptions for rape and incest and obviously medical complications, everyone I think is pretty much on that same page, right? Most people who are sane say, you know what, those are very few and far between. They are a very small number of cases. And if we could just get using it as birth control, which it is, and anyone who says that it's not is full of crap. I'm a guy. I know. Thank you very much. But I think 6 weeks. I think 6 weeks is a little bit shy of what you should do. I really do. I think 8 to 12 weeks is a very acceptable number. You have to look at some people can't get to a doctor, especially with COVID. People are still lining up. You got to look that some people, may not notice that their period is late. I know, Olivia, sometimes your period's right on, and other times it's a week or two late, and it's been inconsistent. So there's things that, we have to, if we're going to make some exceptions, we also have to say, okay, well, let's go ahead and look at this. If we could just get 8 to 12 weeks on the books with rape, incest, and imminent harm to mom, we're going to save tens of millions of babies a decade. And that is ultimately what we need to focus on. That's what we need to do. Right now, it's 67 million aborted babies over the last 65, 70 years. The average of that is a ridiculous number. I mean, it is a ridiculous number. You're looking at 5 million babies a year. That's incredible. If we could get that number down, 95 to 98% down, it's a win. It's better than accepting it used as birth control, because that's what it is. And everyone who says it's not, that's exactly what it is. We know this. But anyway, South Carolina, I don't know if I misspoke. Let's listen to this real quick and then we'll get some feedback on it.
Governor Henry McMaster signed the Fetal Heartbeat and Protection from Abortion Act into law this morning. The law does include some exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. Critics of the law say many women don't know they're pregnant before 6 weeks. South Carolina Representative Nancy Mace spoke today on her concerns about the privacy of women seeking abortions after surviving sexual assault.
I support the exceptions for rape and incest, but I do not support the requirement where rapes are reported to DHEC, to a state agency. That is a private decision for women, and the government shouldn't have that information. It shouldn't be reported to the government. And as a rape victim, I can't even imagine if my name and information was in a database like that. I don't know what I would do. I would be beside myself.
A previous 6-week abortion law was overturned in the state Supreme Court. Due to changes in the court's makeup, this law is expected to be upheld.
Why would your name have to go into a government database?
Well, because you're putting a restriction on it. So it's just the same reason why you got to go ahead and declare when you buy a firearm, even though you shouldn't. It goes into a database. If you're going to have an abortion, you have to show just cause that it's by rape or incest or doctor's note. So you have to, you have to do that. Listen, I
would agree with her. I mean,
I agree with her.
I've never experienced that, but I would think there would have to be a lot of shame involved in it on the woman's part.
I want to be careful here. Now, I don't mean to interrupt because that's something I've tried not to do. But when people say things, I want to be sure. Katie Walker says a fetal heartbeat can be detected as early as 5.5 weeks, people. Katie, that's not true. I understand what you're saying, and I want you to understand I am pro-life. And I don't believe birth control is abortion. I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form should it be a convenience or to get out of your obligation to save a human life. Because from a constitutionalist, emotionally out of it, everyone has the absolute God-given and natural right to the pursuit of happiness, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, including, and you can say bodily autonomy, which is inherent in the Constitution. It is inherent in the writings of our forefathers that bodily autonomy or self-autonomy is absolutely considered. However, that's when you have sex, right? That's when you decide to do the deed. The moment that you're pregnant, self-autonomy, which is a singularity, is no longer. It's a multiplexity. You then have another life to consider. And for you to say that, oh, well, it's my self-autonomy, my bodily autonomy that I can go ahead and abort this baby, that doesn't give you the right to murder because there is another life impacted. So anyone who says that the Constitution protects abortion simply because of self-autonomy or bodily autonomy, that's a fallacy. It's a complete fallacy. However, 5.5 weeks, the chest cavity of the baby and the heart, and I can't, something echo, blah, 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 blah. But the heart isn't physically developed. It's the chest cavity, and it's the muscles which are going to pump the heart around that area and around that cavity, fluctuating. And it sounds like a heartbeat. Olivia and I heard it too. It doesn't matter. To me, that was the sign of life. And I understand. When I heard that early, I was like, oh my God, because Olivia she had a high-risk pregnancy. So they started doing ultrasounds every week or every 2 weeks or whatever it was. So we got many ultrasounds, especially early, and we heard the same thing. But there is a clinical term for that at 5.5 weeks. The heart isn't fully developed, or at least the development of the heart isn't there until 8 weeks is my understanding. Does somebody want to fact check this for me and look up what I'm talking about, which is, can you hear the fetal heartbeat at 5.5 weeks? We're not here to argue.
5.5 to 6 weeks after gestation, you can hear it.
No. Please don't do that. What you did is you looked up the first thing and you didn't do anything I said, which is stop, freeze, and look up what I just said, because there's plenty of sites that are going to tell you that it is a heart, and it's not. Scientifically, they have proven this, and they have had doctor after doctor say what it is. So please slow down. Don't just read the first Wikipedia thing you find and type in what I just said. Can you hear the heart at 5.5 weeks. Is it fully developed? Is it developed where you can hear the heartbeat? Please do me that favor. Do me that solid and research what I said, not what we're trying to confirm.
Okay, so the heart of an embryo starts beating at about week 5 of pregnancy.
But
it may be possible to detect the heartbeat using a vaginal ultrasound.
Okay, so they're not doing vaginal ultrasound. So let's not do. If my grandmother had balls, she would have.
Well, that's how we heard Hayden's.
But that's completely different, and that's not normal, and that is a complete obscurity. I want to know. You put it to the belly. You put on the jelly. You put on the little meter. When can you hear? My understanding is that it's 8 weeks, and anything before that would be that specific thing I'm talking about. Please educate me. Let me know if I'm wrong.
Well, I can tell you with Hayden's, we heard it, but it was the inside one. We couldn't hear it until.
Okay, but I'm asking you to find what that's called. That's anecdotal evidence. Now this is where we stop the show and we get factual. We don't do what we've heard or what we went through. That's anecdotal evidence. I want scientific proof that I'm wrong, so we can educate the audience, because I am almost 1,000,000% positive, and I don't want to argue with a viewer and tell them something that's not true. So let's everyone freeze. Leroy, get on your computer. Everyone get on here. Let's do a little research and find out. All right.
Well, while she's looking that up, can I make
it is called an no, we're going to just do this. An ectopic heartbeat happens when your heart beats. No, that's not it. So let's just stop. I don't want to talk about anything else. Dead silence is fine. We're going to do a little research and we're going to figure this out. Okay. So is there a fetal heartbeat at 6 weeks? While the heart does begin to develop around 6 weeks at this point, the heart as we know it does not yet exist. Fetal cardiologists at Rady Children's Hospitals. Instead, at 6 weeks, the embryo will develop a tube that generates sporadic electrical impulses that eventually coordinate into rhythmic pulses. 6 weeks of pregnancy is closer to 4 weeks of actual development, because pregnancy is measured from the first day of a woman's last period before she is actually pregnant. That is not a fully formed heart with 4 chambers and valves that pump blood throughout the body. The correct medical term of what's observed at this point is cardiac activity. It's not about until the 8 to 10 week mark that there is an actual structure that has 4 tubes and connects to the lungs and major vascular system like we would think of as a heart. It's around that 8 to 10 weeks of pregnancy that the embryo becomes a fetus. It remains a fetus until birth. But defining a heartbeat is tricky even after 8 to 10 weeks, said Dr. Nisha Verma, OBGYN, who spoke on behalf of the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, because the heart continues to develop over the course of the pregnancy. It's not until around 17 to 20 weeks when the 4 chambers of the heart have developed and can be detected on ultrasound. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's an empty cavity until that 8 to 10 week mark. But here's the thing. Is life beginning when we have the heart, or do we know that ultimately when you have a pie and you bake it, or a cake and you put it in, that ultimately you stick it in the oven for the right amount of time at the right temperature, it's going to be a cake no matter what? This is the argument. I don't think life starts the moment that you identify the heartbeat being real or an empty cavity. Life starts at the moment that you go ahead and impregnate somebody. That's when life begins. At least in my estimation. Leroy, Olivia, I want to get your thoughts.
I agree with you. And I agree. As soon as that egg gets fertilized, it's life. And yeah, it can't survive outside of the womb for many, many weeks, but it's still a life, and it's got to grow and it's got to develop in there. I know I've said this before, but I went to that museum where it's I can't remember what it's called, but it's it's the Dead Bodies Museum, where you can go and all these people have donated their bodies to science and stuff. They've got the fetal
the Human
room.
Body Museum.
Yeah, the exhibit. Yeah, they've got the fetal room, and they have got a fetus from I think it was 6 weeks on, and from 6 weeks it looked like a baby from 6 weeks on, and of course it wasn't fully developed, but it had a head, it had a body. You could tell it had arms and it had legs. And of course it was tiny, but it didn't have developed feet or fingers or toes or anything, but it was a baby. and you could totally tell it was a little tiny human.
Okay.
And that was at 6 weeks gestation.
And listen, this is a very difficult topic because people, this is the red and blue circle right now. Okay. People have opinion and they're like, oh, this is fact. I just read you from the Medical Science Journal. Okay. So what I just read you was the straight poop. This is what people in gynecology and obstetrics are trained in and learning from. That's the quote. So when people say at 22 days, a baby's heart begins, that's not true. And I'm not saying that that's when life is. And I'm not saying that doesn't quantify as a life. I just told you that the moment fertilization of that egg begins and that fire takes place and that composition of genetic material starts to transform is life. And honestly, even when it's inside a sperm sac, it's still life. And to sit here and say that's not a part of life is ridiculous. My point being is that we have to be very careful when we are going to look at some sort of compromise, because it can't be a zero-sum game. You can't say, I can have an abortion until my kid's 10 years old, until they can survive on their own somewhat, and I can just smother them in their sleep. Or I want to be able to go ahead and the moment that conception starts, no matter if the woman dies or it's rape or it's incest or whatever, or if they're 12 years old, they have to have that baby. We can't have a zero-sum game. We're going to have some sort of compromise in this, and that's just the way it's going to have to work. Whether you want to believe that or not, abortions are still taking place every day, but we need to limit the amount and not have it used as a contraceptive. My point being is that you have to draw those lines of delineation in between what's acceptable, at least from a compromise standpoint, but not morally. Okay? Now, you all believe, most of you, in the death penalty, I'm sure, but you're all Christians. So that already is you're compromising your moral integrity, which you should believe. Most people believe in the death penalty, but don't believe in abortion when they're Republicans. That's an oxymoron. So we have to understand is that you're willing to compromise as long as you agree with the premise. So let's just stop and assume that what I just told you is that at that 8 to 10 week mark, we start seeing the development of the heart, and it's not fully matured. At least, well, it's never fully matured until you're an adult, but in the sense of having 4 channels, a pumping functional heart does not happen until 17 and 28 weeks. It doesn't mean that the heart is the significance of life. Life is inherent. It's immediate. And that is something we're never going to get out of. But we have to go ahead and make the decision and say, when is it a compromised event where we can say at this time, it's convenient enough for a woman to get the health care she needs, to get her exam, to get her blood tests, to be checked out by a gynecologist and an OBGYN. That is health care. Everyone agrees. And then to transition into, if absolutely medically necessary or in extreme circumstances or within a certain amount of weeks that she can get an abortion, those things have to line up. So it can't be the most minimal amount, because I'm telling you, getting into even my general practitioner takes almost a month right now. And we have to be considerate if we're going to compromise from a platform of we have to in order to save lives. We have to be realistic. That was a very long answer. I apologize. Who wants to go?
So I actually have a fair amount of thought on this. When we're talking about the difference between abortion and non-abortion, what we're talking about between the Democrat and the Republican Party is some level of compromise, right? The Democrats always try to label the GOP as the party that will not compromise. Okay. Now, that being said, most of the people that are watching this, that we've got 120-ish people on right now, have all heard me say before, that, you know, when we're talking about the Declaration of Independence, that, you know, we hold these truths to be self-evident, blah, 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 go on, right? That the unalienable right to life is something that we as Americans, we actually have it ingrained in our founding documents. So the people that say that abortion is something that is, was never considered or is something that's protected, under whatever amendment, bullshit. Okay. It's written into our documents that we hold life as one of those rights that is unalienable. Okay. Now, so when we're talking about we're talking about these goalposts, right? And we can say that, further to the right, that, the people that would be considered extreme would be the pro-lifers that are saying, no abortion ever. If a woman, doesn't matter what the circumstance is, if it's rape, incest, whatever. Okay, fine. I get that. And then on the left, right, taken to the extreme. And I've heard politicians say this, that they believe in abortion even after birth, post-birth abortions. Like right after birth, the mother and the doctor will have the discussion on whether or not to keep the baby. I have heard and read headlines about that type of discussion. Okay, fine. So when we're talking about compromise, what is that compromise then, right? Most Americans believe that abortion should not be used as a contraceptive, and that abortion is something that is, it's certainly a horrible, horribly deep topic for any potential mother, for any potential father, right? Let's not discount the father in this. But when we're talking about this lack of negotiations between the two, I think what South Carolina did, and in listening to that lady speak of the headlines, I can get behind that. I can say that, a 6-week or an 8-week, up to that point, I don't like it. I still see it as potentially being used as a form of contraception for people who could not plan correctly, and that's fine. Just a personal stance. But I mean, isn't that a form of negotiation for the Republican Party to say, all right, look, we'll give you the 6 weeks or we'll give you the 8 weeks? That is a form of negotiation. So when you hear people that say, oh, the Republicans are just these, religious zealots, and they always seem to bring that into the conversation. They always bring religion. This isn't a biblical, it's supposed to be separation of church and state. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that the unalienable right to life is something ingrained in our country, and that we are willing to negotiate up to a certain point.
Right.
That's all.
There's a line we won't cross, right? There's a line we won't cross. Yeah. Olivia, take us home on this. Before we do that, I just wanted to say that nobody in this chat has any obligation to explain themselves. If Beth doesn't believe in adoption, then Beth doesn't have to believe in adoption. If Beth has reservations about adoption because what can happen, then that's so be it. If maybe she believes in the matriarch and patriarch, that the nurturing and love of parents is absolutely crucial to a child. It doesn't matter. She doesn't have to explain herself. So everyone just be nice. Yeah. Matt, I've always wanted to debate you on this topic after this show. We are pretty much on the same page. I always took you as no abortion. I don't want to debate anybody. There's no reason to debate me. My job, you don't even know my opinion on abortion. My job is to facilitate a conversation. It's not to give you my opinion. I don't do opinion. I do fact. I just stopped Leroy and Amy cold in their tracks and said, freeze. We are not saying anything.
Olivia.
God damn it. Oops. Sorry. I didn't use the word. I didn't use. Sorry.
Is there something I need to know? Because that's the second time you've called me.
Yeah, she's been on the show she's been on the show for 2 years.
Do I need to have a conversation with her?
Yeah, whatever. So anyway, the whole thing, even joking about that is totally not appropriate when it comes to me. You know better. So I'm just saying, even joking about that that's not even funny. So nice try though. No, she's been on the show for 2 years, and that's it.
I know I'm joking.
No, you're not. That's okay. That's all right. I mean, you can make jokes about infidelity. That's fine.
Goodness me.
Sorry.
At least I didn't call you another man's name.
I would rather have you have sex with me
Leroy?
calling another man's name than going ahead and having sex with another man calling my name. Just letting you know. So to get to the point is that we stopped an entire conversation saying, freeze, we're not moving forward until we have the facts. My opinion on abortion is I don't have an opinion. I don't do opinion. I do, and I'm guided by spiritual decision through education. And most of my decisions is that I console my own makeup and my own soul, and I seek advice from that. And then I go around with people that I trust unequivocally, and I get their input, and then I make an informed, educated decision, not an opinion. And I'm always willing to change it. And I'm always willing to alter. Like that lady make that comment, I thought 6 weeks was enough. And then I'm like, wait a second, she makes a really good point. And why should she have to register rape? So I can change my mind. So when people get all pissy, and Paul, I'm not saying you're doing that. You're like, you want to debate me. I'm not no abortion. I am full. Here's my educated and informed decision. Abortion is necessary sometimes. And whether you want to like that or not, I don't care. Because just like brain surgery at one point was considered witchcraft, it is a necessary risk to take sometimes, even though it could cost a human life. And there are times where if my wife was on the table and they were saying it's either her or the baby, I love that little guy or girl in her tummy, but Olivia is the choice through and through every time. And so it's circumstantial. It requires heart and compassion and empathy. And that always makes a difficult decision. But I believe abortion is a crutch for way too many people who use it as contraception. And I believe that the moral and ethical dilemma that we face when it comes to mutilating and destroying an entire generation of people is one of the things that we will all be judged for. And there's a much different level of conversation from a educational standpoint and a spiritual standpoint when it comes. And I believe the spiritual conversation is left out way too often when it comes to abortion.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
Nothing to debate. Olivia?
Yeah, I'm
Amy?
Yeah. Okay, Leroy, thanks.
Leroy? Oh, fuck, you can have him. Gross. Sorry for using the Lord's name in vain, by the way. That was very uncalled for. I apologize.
That was funny, though.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It was.
I'm with you on the abortion. I don't believe in using it as a form of birth control because you got repeat offenders. They have sex, they get pregnant, they don't want it, they have an abortion, they do it all over again. I think that is totally wrong. But there are definitely circumstances. I mean, what happened if, God forbid this were ever, but what would happen if Hayden were to be raped? She's 13. She can get pregnant right now.
Well, I'm going to be in jail.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
But what happens if a pregnancy occurred from that?
Yeah.
If she wanted to have an abortion from that, I'd be 100% for that because I'm not going to tell her she's wrong and she's going to go to hell and no, she can't have an abortion.
Right.
Because then she's going to have to look at that baby and either give it up for adoption and feel horrible about that because she loves kids and she always has and she wants to be a mom someday. Or she's going to have to look at that baby every day and think of that man who did that to her.
Yeah.
There are definitely exceptions to the rule. My best friend growing up, her mother had lupus. Her mother almost died in childbirth with her. She was told she could never get pregnant again. She ended up getting pregnant when my friend was 2. The doctors forced her to have an abortion. The reason why is she would not have survived 3 months into the pregnancy. Both her and the baby would have died. And then her husband would be a widower with a 2-year-old. So there are exceptions to the rule for abortions, and I'm okay with those. But using it as a form of birth control over and over and over again, no. I'm totally against that.
Fair enough. I think we have had this conversation many times before.
Yeah.
I think it is completely useful to have this conversation often. And I think everyone gets to have their own opinion. And just like if you want to be a Democrat, that's fine. I can be your friend. And if you want to be a liberal, I can be your friend. I even have socialist friends. I have gay friends, straight friends, black friends, white friends, skinny friends, fat friends, all those type of friends. And I don't care, because once again, I have said it a million times before, on the hierarchy of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, politics is never there. The essential parts of life, food, water, shelter, love, self-awareness, self-acceptance, and then essentially spiritual enlightenment are the keys. And political ideology isn't even the hierarchy. There's so much more to the human psyche than politics.
Oh, absolutely.
And although I want to hear your opinion on politics, I want to hear your opinion on sports, and I want to hear your opinion on everything else. So let's just agree that complexity can create derision and cynicism, but it also can create exponential and experiential learning. And the more we have a conversation and the more we listen to other people's stories, the more we will be able to make the right decision and not an opinion.
Right. Right.
That's why I talk about these things. That's why I want to hear your opinions. That's why I just love it when Olivia's here and Amy's here and Amy's here and Amy's here and Amy's here.
And Amy.
And occasionally, and Leroy's
Don't
here.
forget Amy.
And Amy's here. So I don't have to look at Olivia. So let's see. So, Amy, can you come back, because we miss you? Ooh. All right.
And we have talked about this.
Oh.
Let me just quickly
go
add
ahead.
something to that. We have talked about this several times in the past, but every time we do, it's a reinforcement, right, of certain values that the quad of us, between myself, Matt, his wife, Olivia, and Amy.
Don't forget Amy.
Don't forget Amy. That these are values that we all hold, and they can all be mildly.
Oh, mother.
Sorry.
And they can all have some very nuanced variance between our opinions. But the fact of the matter is that we're willing to have that conversation over and over again. And the intent, the idea behind it is that with multiple hundred people watching this show at any one time, when they hear that, they're going to walk away from this podcast saying, oh, you know what? That was a really good point. That is really, really true. You know, something that Olivia or Amy said just, strikes a chord with someone, and they walk away with it with a little bit more of an open mind.
That's right. That's it. It's just to have a conversation. And for those of you that said the death penalty, you know what? Like,
Death penalty is so different than abortion.
yeah, and I like people like, oh, I don't believe in the death penalty. Well, that's a whole nother conversation that we should have.
Another conversation.
That was
for a
my
later
first
date.
12 years old. 13. That was my first debate, and I was responsible for being pro death penalty. And I was never good at school. Man, I rocked that 16-year-old that went against me. And I was in middle school, and they were freshmen, I believe. No, sophomore, one of the two. And I got to go to the high school and debate them from my middle school. And I absolutely crushed them. And I was for the death penalty. And I said, essentially they're like, well, I don't understand why when you electrocute somebody or shoot them full of sodium pentothal or hang them, which in some states was okay back then, why you need to go ahead and do an autopsy. And I just looked at him and I said, well, because it's California state law. Person sat down and they didn't stand back up. I mean, I just was like, kapoosh. Their entire premise was cruel. Go ahead.
That's one of those arguments that, from my perspective, has kind of shifted over time. And it is one that I'm willing to give up. It's one that I'm willing to say that, all right, look, my personal feelings aside, I can get behind a stance that says, all right, no death penalty, provided you're willing to give me a little bit on the abortion front. Because there's that other part of my brain that says that, look, if somebody got nicked, right, for murder, whatever, and they're in the clink for murder, whatever, that they're not going to get out. They're not going anywhere. So by me saying, look, I'm willing to give up on the death penalty debate, that doesn't matter, because I still know they're not going anywhere. Versus the idea behind abortion, which is one of, look, you are literally stealing somebody's life. Or like people have these debates all the time about abortion and shouldn't it be the mom's choice and this kind of thing. And I just keep thinking to myself, there's been a handful of stories over the years that I've followed. One of them was a child who was literally thrown out in a dumpster. Somebody found the baby. Baby grows up. Baby is highly motivated. Goes to college, ends up becoming a multi-millionaire, starting his own company. That was one example of oh my God, like really? That really happened? Yes, that really did happen. And then on the abortion front, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was adopted. Had his mother said, nope, look, we're going to forego all of this, would the Apple phone exist like we know it now?
Yeah, because they stole it from several competitors.
True.
So they stole their technology from IBM. But either way, I think all of these points are magnificent. This next segment, I think, is going to be the best segment of the night, to be honest with you. I got to adjust these windows real quick. So let's get to that because I don't want to miss this segment. I think this segment is probably going to be
I'm down.
Pretty heavy. So I want to show you a couple of things. This is a video. Olivia and I are avid baseball fans. And I mean avid baseball fans. Olivia, did you look up the pitcher, his name?
His name was, oh gosh.
Yep, come on. Do you remember?
His name?
He's Toronto Blue Jays. He is a pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Anthony Bass?
Yeah, don't you have the comments I told you to find?
Well, yeah, I took a picture of him.
Weird is stellar.
Okay. So
yeah, Anthony Bass.
So Anthony Bass or Bass.
I think
it's Bass. It's Anthony Bass. Is starting pitcher for Toronto. And tell them what he did, honey.
So he, on his Instagram, all he did was share a video. And the video promoted the boycott of Target and Bud Light for each company's recent support of LGBTQ, yada, 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 yada. The video contained within an anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, harmful stereotypes of the community, and described the LGBTQ pride campaigns run by each business as evil and demonic. He never quoted on it. All he did was just share the video.
So this is a very slippery slope. And I want to be clear. I see a lot of fans, even of this show, who are turning in Target into an anti-LGBTQ tirade. And I want to tell you right now, I think that's disgusting. What's happening at Target has nothing to do with pride. Has nothing to do with gay people or lesbians, in my opinion. It's them marketing and targeting children. The only reason I was upset about Bud Light was because Bud Light discredited Olivia as a female and trivialized her journey and her experience as a woman. I don't give a rat's ass if people sell LGBTQ clothing to adults. I don't care if they put a rainbow flag on a beer can. I don't give one solitary fuck about that. Pardon my French. First time I've really cussed tonight. The only reason I care about the Navy is because it is literally criminalizing other people who have an opinion that they don't want to feel uncomfortable in the military, and the fact that they are trying to create this sensitive, gender-affirming, racially equal military when the military is the only service in the freaking world that should absolutely be prejudiced as humanly possible, because it's a selective service. So
That's actually how it's titled too.
That's exactly what it is. It's selective service for a reason. Just keep that shit out of our military. As far as Kohl's and Walmart, I don't care. I'm going to still shop at Target. So is Olivia. I support the LGBTQ community. I am 100% through and through. Keep the rainbow flag out of our schools. If we can't have the U.S. flag in schools, I don't want your rainbow fucking flag in the schools. If we can burn the U.S. flag, well, then someone can burn the LGBTQ flag. I don't care. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I don't think you should be able to burn flags at all. I think it should be a constitutional amendment against it. And I think you shouldn't be able to burn the LGBTQ flag. I don't think you should be able to burn the paganistic 666 Satanist flag either. If you want to go buy one and burn it, if you get a permit, you should be able to. But you shouldn't be able to take one down and burn it from someone's personal property. It's against the law. So the guy who burned the LGBTQ flag, you should be in jail for what you did because you destroyed someone's property. Now, before we start opening comments, I want to watch this video. And
Can I
this
add
guy,
real quick?
What? Yeah.
Can I add something just real quick?
Yeah.
Something you said specifically about the military, and everyone
ahead, bud.
should be aware of both Matt and mine stance. I always felt that the military should. It can be a social experiment or it can be a means to national defense. It can't be both at the same time.
That's right. That's it. So simply put.
That's all I wanted to say.
Their job, the basis of the military is to defend America by killing anyone who wants to do us harm, period. Full stop. Every single person's job is either to support killing or to kill. That's it. Every job. Even the cooks. You feed the killers. Intelligence.
I love the cooks.
Some of the cooking is. Some of the cooks are
Oh,
killers.
some of it is terrible.
Food, their shit that they cook. But the whole point I'm trying to make is the military is a selective service and it should discriminate completely. Period. End of story. I want to show this video because it's important to me. Olivia and I really care about baseball. We love sports. We watch sports every night. It literally is what we love. Now, Diablo's coming out tomorrow, and we're really excited about Diablo. Look at that grin. She got her new PS5 pink remote, and
He surprised me.
I surprised her. I got her a pink remote because she's a woman, and she should do more than just be in the kitchen. She should help me get to level 100 in Diablo.
No, you're going to help me get to level 100.
That's true. Yeah, you don't help me much. I kind of carry you.
Exactly.
Anyway, here's the video. Now, I want you to listen. This guy is nervous. He is shaking. He seems intimidated. After he didn't comment on this video. He didn't say anything negative about LGBTQ. He just posted the video. Olivia and I haven't seen it, but I've seen a million like him. And this guy is now forced to make an apology. Listen.
I recognized yesterday I made a post that was hurtful to the Pride community, which includes friends of mine and close family members of mine, and I am truly sorry for that. I just spoke with my teammates and shared with them my actions yesterday. I apologize with them. And as of right now, I'm using the Blue Jays resources to better educate myself, to make better decisions moving forward. The ballpark is for everybody. We include all fans at the ballpark, and we want to welcome everybody. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Wow.
Obviously forced contrition, which bothers me because, first of all, he has a First Amendment right, even in that place called Canada, to go ahead and speak his mind and say what he believes without any apology. Now, the NHL has done this. The NHL is taking away Pride Nights from a lot of and not making these guys wear jersey. They have the Pride Night, but they don't have to wear the jersey. And the NHL is standing pat with this. You would think.
That's why I like the NHL.
Now, I know Toronto is full of disappointment. I get that, right? I completely understand that the Maple Leafs suck and Toronto Blue Jays suck and Toronto doesn't have a chance to really do anything in any major sport. It's no offense. It's just Canada. Nobody cares. But but the whole thing is that he doesn't have to do that or shouldn't have to. And it reminds me of a Seinfeld episode. I haven't seen a lot of Seinfeld, but I did want to show this one, and it's kind of comedic, but it's so accurate to what they do today. And it's not just the lesbian gay community, because a lot of gay and lesbian people would probably say, I don't really care what he had to say. Some were pissed off. Some were frustrated. But who cares? It's most lesbian and gay people just don't give a crap. They're either they don't consider this to be, the guy has a right to have an opinion, just like gay and lesbian people can say, I don't want Christianity taught to my children. Good, you can say that, and you don't have to apologize for it.
Right.
If you don't want to take part in wearing a rainbow jersey, you don't have to. But this is what it reminds me of. One of the only episodes I've seen of Seinfeld. I apologize for the quality. It ain't good, but you can hear it, and it's funny.
Cosmo Kramer.
Okay, you're checked in?
Yeah, thank you.
Here's your AIDS ribbon.
I remember this.
You don't want to wear an AIDS ribbon?
No.
But you have to wear an AIDS ribbon.
I have to?
Yes.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't want to.
But everyone wears the ribbon. You must wear the ribbon.
What you are? You're a ribbon bully.
Hey, you, come back here. Come back here and put this on.
Hey, where's your ribbon? Oh, I don't wear the ribbon.
You don't wear the ribbon? Aren't you against AIDS?
Yeah, I'm against AIDS. I mean, I'm walking, aren't I? Just don't wear wear the ribbon.
Who do you think you are?
Put the ribbon on.
Hey, Cedric, Bob, this guy won't wear a ribbon.
Who? Who doesn't want to wear the ribbon? So, what's it going to be? Are you going to wear the ribbon? No, never. But I'm wearing the ribbon. He's wearing the ribbon. We are all wearing the ribbon. So why aren't you going to wear the ribbon?
This is America. I don't have to wear anything I don't want to wear.
What are we going to do with him? I guess we're just going to have to teach him to wear the ribbon.
Where's Kramer? Everything's finished. Then.
Oh, I told him he'd never make it. He was up all night. Oh, my God. Kramer?
He got wrecked.
Look at you. I told you. Up all night playing poker. Come on.
Hey, where's your age ribbon?
Oh my God.
So, I mean, how is that not symbolic? I mean, it's like inclusion or else, right? And folks, once again, my opinion doesn't matter, but I've stated this clearly. I 100% with no equivocation support the LGBTQ community, period. 100%. I don't believe they deserve special rights. I don't believe they deserve special recognition.
No.
Just like I don't think African Americans deserve special recognition. White people deserve special recognition. I don't think we should have days to celebrate where you put your penis. Sorry. I just don't care. Now, you want to have Black History Month? That's great. Fine. Do that. We had presidents and we celebrated presidents and we celebrated Black history in school. Fine. But I just don't believe that a human being should be idolized ever. It's just not my thing. It's not my bag, because I believe that on a long enough timeline with a deep enough conversation, people are superior to one another, no matter how superior they may be in one isolated experience. Steve Jobs may be fantastic at selling computer circuitry and RAM and everything else and making a simple, beautiful font-based operating system. But I guarantee that guy doesn't know absolute shit about roofing. And I can have a conversation with anybody about quite a few topics, but I don't know anything about, thermodynamics or chaos theory. And I'm not going to be able to go ahead and have an articulate conversation with you. People have experiences that are more important than others. And so idolizing a person is not my idea of what's necessary. I believe sharing experiences with people to expand their own knowledge so they can become at least conscious of another person's opinions and ideas and expertise is what we should be doing. Not just saying, oh, well, Rosa Parks, let's just slap a stamp on that day. Or Malcolm X. Let's try to understand what Malcolm X was trying to say. Let's take the good with the bad. Let's try to understand what Mark Twain was trying to say in his writings and about the press and about politicians. Not just the good, not just the bad, but his overall reasoning for what he believed and what he also not just believed, but what he decided. Because they're two very different things. Belief is constantly changing and growing, and decision is a decision that is going to last forever. And you may alter it in the future and make a different decision, but that decision you made is absolutely paramount. That's why I try to hold politicians accountable for what they used to do and why they've all of a sudden changed. That's why I'm so upset with Democrats for being for open borders, but they were one of the most fervent parties against it. It's like, well, why did you make that decision and what made you change? Oh, votes. Well, that's not a real reason. Anyway, I want to get Leroy's thoughts. I want to get Olivia's thoughts on this. I'm going to let Livy go first because I know she's going to throw it at me that I let Amy go first.
God, I hate you sometimes.
No, you don't. You don't hate me. There's not one hate piece of bone in your body.
Oh.
Unless it's angry sex.
That's a good point.
Okay.
So this reminds me of the Pittsburgh Steelers player that stood up for the national anthem and then was forced to publicly apologize to the team and to the fans and to the country for doing what he believed. I mean, if you're an American, you've got a First Amendment. It shouldn't matter that you are a public figure. I mean, don't these actors and actresses who get paid millions of dollars get to have an opinion? They get to post whatever they want on social media, but because, and kids look up to them and want to be them, but because you're a athlete, you don't have an opinion. You can't have it doesn't make any sense to me. You took my talking points on the NHL though, because that's why I love the NHL,
sorry.
because they're not making their players, if they don't agree with it, they're not making them wear the jersey. They're not making them openly support it, because majority of those players are from Russia. It's against their religion, and it's against who they are, from their country. It's illegal in their country. So I think it's wrong. If actors and actresses and musicians get an opinion and they don't have to publicly apologize for their opinion, then athletes should not have to publicly apologize for their opinions, because it's their opinion and they have a right to it.
That's it. That's a pretty good point. By the way, folks, just to really make your evening even better before we get to Leroy, I just want to tell you one thing, that the House just passed the spending bill. $4 trillion will be added to our national debt and our overall spending. The IRS will be 80% funded. Border wall will not be complete. Money will still go to Ukraine. SNAP and all the other expectations, and $66 billion. Wow. Essentially about 10 days of operating cost of the U.S. government will save over the next 2 years until they do this again. Now, the Senate hasn't passed this, but there's very little chance that it's not going to pass the Senate. Democrats fervently want this. Once again, the Republicans cave. They don't stand up. They don't.
They negotiated? What?
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, before we get to Leroy on this, Kevin McCarthy, they have the power to replace him and call a vote of no confidence. I believe they should. I think they should send a message to McCarthy that even if they don't replace him, they should send a very clear message that they are willing to exercise the negotiations they made, and send a clear message that this is not what the American people put him in place for. It's sickening. I think, once again, this is the uniparty at work, and Republicans are cowards. So that's my opinion. Leroy, go ahead.
With regard to what happened in Toronto, I feel like this always happens, doesn't it? The athletes always kind of cave to their ownership crowd, to their team, to their sport. Actors always cave to Hollywood. They always cave to their perspective groups. And so they really can't claim the title of individuals. And it's something that, little tidbit about me, folks. I am a huge lover of rock and roll music. I love old school 80s and 90s rock. And one of those great bands was called Rush. And Rush had this really great song, and it was called Subdivisions. One of the lines out of that song, Subdivisions, was conform or be cast out. And that's what this is. That's exactly what this is. This is, look, I will say what I think is appropriate on one day, and then the team is going to correct me and let me know that, no, I don't in fact think that way. And that if I don't retract that statement and reissue a new statement, that I may be in trouble, both liability and financially. So it's one of those things where it is compelled speech. And one of the problems with compelled speech is that, once you accept exemptions to your speech, that you must accept that those exemptions will later be used against you. I really, really don't like the walkbacks. Just fucking own it. But at the same time, and I'm going to be the first to tell you here, if a particular armed forces were to come up to me one day and say, we need you to retract what you said on that show on that day, or your entire retirement could be at risk. That's a hell of a threat, isn't it? And I got to tell you, man, I know what I want to say, but at the same time, it's such a threat, right? It's such a, there's so much over your head, liability speaking, to say, look, if you don't agree with what we want you to agree with, that your financial livelihood for the rest of your life could become a problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hell of a threat. So I get it. I get why he did it on one hand, and on one hand, I want to say, you pussy. But on the other hand, I'm like, well, wait a minute. How would I react? Wait, they have millions of dollars basically over my head to threaten me with, do you want to retire in peace and in agreement with what we want you to agree with at this particular moment in time, or do you want to retire in ruins? So I get it.
All very good points, and I don't mean to jump topics quickly, but I do want to talk about this. 31.4 trillion debt ceiling. The vote was 314 to 117. That means hardly any Republicans stood up for it. Looks like some Democrats and Republicans voted against it. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I believe, voted for it. So a lot of the 20 did. Reading. At best, we have a 2-year spending freeze. It's full of loopholes and gimmicks, Chip Roy said. Looks like Chip Roy went against it. It now goes to the Senate.
Paul went against it, right?
They're saying it can't go back to the House because that's what happens. If the Senate doesn't vote for it, it doesn't just die. It just goes back to the House for them to renegotiate. I'm trying to find the votes cast on it. Just 1 second.
Is it Rand or Ron? Ron Paul, the curly-haired.
Rand.
That's Ron. It's Rand.
There's Ron.
I know
Ron,
he voted against it.
Ron is dad. Rand.
That's right.
Is
That's right.
son. I want to see who voted. If anyone has that information, send it to me, please. Liv, can you help look?
Hey, real quick, Maureen says, I lost the feed. If you're having trouble with the feed, go ahead and sign out and then sign back in. So if anybody's having any problems with that, jump out and then jump back in. It should be just fine.
I'm checking all my sources, folks.
While he's reading, also another awesome foot stomp for the Purcellville Flag Company. Folks, if you haven't looked at their website, why haven't you done it yet? The company's amazing. I was looking through the catalog the other day, and I'm still trying to figure out what I want to order. Purcellville Flag Company. Look it up.
pfcflags.com. Yeah, I don't have the formal list. Obviously, nobody wants this out.
That doesn't shock me, actually.
Yeah, but my point is everyone's talking about, what is that?
That went to me. I gotta send it to you.
No, I have it. What is it?
It shows it shows all the members who support it and who opposed it.
I gotta pay for it.
Do you?
Oh.
Nope, I didn't. It's showing everyone.
Send me that list. Highlight all of it, copy and paste it into notes, and send it to me. Okay. We're gonna go through this real quick, folks, because I think this is important for who we know. Of course, Ron Paul voted against it. Rand Paul, not Ron Paul. Rand Paul. And as soon as we're done with this, as quickly as you can, baby.
Yeah, I'm going. It's a lot of names.
Yeah, that's 500 some odd names. Unfortunately, Washington, Wapow might not be paid for on phone, but they certainly are on desktop. So you got it?
No, I can't.
Give me your phone, please.
There you go. It might be easier that way.
Just hit select all next time, baby.
Okay.
Notes. Notes. New note. Paste. Okay, and then send it to me. AirDrop to hubby. Take that, babe, please.
Boom.
All right. So welcome to technology. All right, here it is. Oh. Come on.
Well, he's trying to figure. Well, he's figuring that out.
Yeah, let me have your phone. No, there's no read. Needs. Just wait, Leroy, please.
You're good.
This is more important than anything else. Okay,
Oh, it's
so
just great.
So here's what we got. So taking a look at this, these are the people who supported. I'm just going to read off the big names. Kelly Armstrong, North Dakota. Jim Baird, Indiana. Troy Balderson, Ohio.
These are 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nikki Budzinski, Michael Burgess from Texas. Let me try to focus on big names. There's a lot of people here, but I'm getting through it pretty fast. Jim Costa from California. Dan Crenshaw, Texas.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Fucking Dan. Henry Kohler, Texas. Esposito from New York. Yeah, I think Dan is very much an establishment Republican.
What about Eli?
I'm working on it. John Doherty from California. Jeff Duncan from South Carolina. And I don't think this makes Republicans rhinos. I think some people voted on it because they want to get it through. Mike Gallagher, Wisconsin. John Garamendi from California. Vincente Gonzalez from Texas. Al Green from Texas. Looks like Texas stood shoulder to shoulder. The entire state. Going through. Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas. Oh, wow, that's a shock. Hakeem Jeffries said yes. Mike Johnson from Louisiana said yes. Dusty Johnson. Jim Jordan. So everyone, don't give me this. Oh, we wanted Jim Jordan and not Kevin McCarthy. Jim Jordan voted for it. Trent Kelly, Mississippi. Mike Kelly from Pennsylvania. Andy Kim from Jersey. Giving you guys everybody that's worth it. Laurel Lee from Florida. Susie Lee from Nevada. Ted Lieu from California. Thomas Massey from Kentucky. Everybody voted for it. Kevin McCarthy voted for it, obviously. It's his shit. Betty McCollum from Minnesota. Dan Mauser from Pennsylvania. I don't see Eli on here at all.
He probably said no.
They had a list of the no's, too.
Yeah, I'm going through.
What about Luttrell?
Hold on. Let me just get everybody. I'm just giving them the beef. Mike Quigley. said yes. Salazar from Florida said yes. Okay. All right, so let's get to the no's. Where were the no's?
They should have been under.
How far?
They had the whole list of yes, and you should go back up to the website.
I can't. I just told you it won't let me. On your phone?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Here we go. Okay, I got it. Here we go. This is so much better. Holy shit, I can actually read it. Okay, this is gonna crush. Hold on. Just let me find. Here we go. Here are the most important things, the no's. Opposes, there's only 117, so this should be interesting. Mark Alford, Missouri. Nanette Berrigan, California. Andy Biggs. Dan Bishop, North Carolina. Susan Bonamici. Mike Bost. Jamal Bowman. Josh Breachin. Vern Buchanan. Ken Buck. Tim Burchett. Aaron Burleson. Corey Bush. That's surprising. Kat Kamek,
That
Florida.
is surprising.
John Carter. Greg Cesar. Joaquin Castro. Judy Chu. Yvette Clark. Ben Klein. Michael Cloud. Andrew Clyde. Mike Collins. Gerald Colony. Eli Crane. Told you Eli will never sell out. Ever. I told you all he would never sell out. Jasmine Crockett. I'll just say Democrat. Jasmine Crockett, Dem. Rosa DeLauro, Dem. Mark DeSaulner, Dem. Scott DeJarlis, Tennessee, Republican. Byron Donalds, Republican. Adriano Espalate, Democrat. Pat Fallon, Brad Finston, Michelle Fishbach, Russell Fry, Russ Fulcher, Matt Gaetz, Republican. Jesus Chuy Garcia. I'm not even going to read the Dems. Tony Gonzalez, unless they're important. Tony Gonzalez, Bob Good, Lance Gooden, Paul Gossar, Morgan Griffith. Paul Gossar is part of the 20. Raul Girovale from Arizona. Michael Guest, Harriet Hagerman, Andy Harris, Diane Harshbarger, Kevin Hearn, Clay Higgins, part of the 20. Wesley Hunt, Ronnie Jackson. Pramila J. Powell, from Democrat. She voted against. Sydney, this means the squad voted against. Darren LaHood, Debbie Leskow, Paul Lewina, Morgan Luttrell voted against. Nancy Mace, Tracy Mann, Brian Mast, Richard McCormick, Jim McGovern, Massachusetts voted against. That's a big one. Corey Mills, Mary Miller, Alex Mooney, Barry Moore, Gwen Moore voted for. Nathaniel Morin voted against. Those all voted against, sorry. Nadler voted against, Democrat. Ralph Norman, Ocasio-Cortez against. So basically the extreme left and the extreme left and the extreme right voted against. The middle voted for. And we knew this. Gary Palmer, Scott Perry, Mark Pocan, Bill Posey, John Rouse, Rosendale, Chip Roy, George Santos, douchebag, Keith Self, Pete Sessions, Victoria Sparts, Greg Stubbe, Dale Strong, Tom Tiffany, William Timmons, Rashid Tlaib, Jeff Van Drew, Beth Van Doing, Michael Waltz, Randy Weber, Nikema Williams, Frederick S. Wilson. I didn't see Marjorie Taylor Greene. Did not vote. Jim Bakes, Lauren Boebert didn't vote. Coward.
Interesting.
Angie Craig and Deborah Ross. So, folks, and Marjorie Taylor Greene voted for it. So there you go, folks. There you go. Democracy in action. The Uniparty.
Democracy in action.
I'll tell you what, folks. Yeah, it's just nobody cares. The extreme left and right fractures your party. There's no unification. Republicans should have all stood together or apart on this, but that's what it is. And folks, for those of you who are like, oh, well, Donald Trump, here's another mistake. Donald Trump supported Kevin McCarthy, which I still support Kevin McCarthy because at least he got some things done. He did. It's nothing close to what we want, but at least he got some things done. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, I've warned you about her. I've warned you about her. At least you knew Dan Crenshaw was going to vote middle. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I thought she was Trump through and through. She's been swinging from Kevin McCarthy's dick ever since she backed him up. Yeah, and then Boebert not being there, that's cowardly. I mean, she was a part of the 20. Yeah. All right. Well, that is what it is. Let's go ahead and toss it over to Leroy. We will do, we've got plenty for tomorrow. We're not going to be on live. But can I do one more thing and then we can go? Because I want to end on a good note. Can we have 5 minutes, Leroy? Leroy, you got to go?
Of course. Dude, it's your show. Let's go.
Yeah, I know, but it's our show. And I want to show you something that just will make everyone laugh. This is the Democrat Socialist meeting, and this is going to make you laugh. This is hilarious. Watch this.
Quick
point. Now, this was, I think, in 2019, but it hasn't gotten any better. Trust me.
Privilege. Quick point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Guys, first of all, James Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. I just want to say, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum? I'm one of the people who's very, very prone to sensory overload. There's a lot of whispering and chatter going on. It's making it very difficult for me to focus. Please, can we just, I know we're all fresh and ready to go, but can we please just keep the chatter to a minimum? It's affecting my ability to focus. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. Okay, is there a speaker? Oh
my God.
Oh, no, this is bad, dude.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Okay.
Quick point of privilege once again. Quick point of privilege once.
Watch people's hands. They're up like they won't cheer, so they do this. It's jazz hands. We had to do this in Apple. This is the day I decided to quit Apple, and I was done. And we were in a meeting, and you could no longer clap because people felt that the level of clapping was louder for others, and it made them reflect upon high school and dejection.
Oh my gosh.
So you could only do this. When you agreed with someone, you had to do jazz hands. And I fucking walked out of the meeting and I went home. And I didn't tell Olivia why. And I think I was in San Francisco, and I got on a plane. I came home early. I just left. I was done. I was like, fuck this. I'm out. What did I say, Liv? Fuck this shit out.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to play right now. We'll play it at the end.
Again, hi, James Jackson, Sacramento DSA, he, him. I have already asked people to be mindful of the chatter of their comrades who are sensitive to sensory overload, and that goes double for the heckling and the hissing. It is also triggering to my anxiety. Like, the be comradely isn't just for, like, let's keep things civil or whatever. It's so that people aren't going to get triggered and so that it doesn't affect their performance as a delegate, okay? Your need to express yourself is important, but your need to express yourself should not trump or over,
I see that no one's clapping for me. It could be because I'm not engaging, but it also is because everyone's doing this. And that's really important because those loud bursts of noise, even though this is a noisy space, when we can do something like reducing that, that's really important. So please don't clap, shoot up these. We have a lot of disabled comrades, and a lot of those are invisible disabilities. You don't know who it is that is having a more difficult time navigating this space, and this space was not created with all of their needs in mind. So it's up to us to modify that space to make sure that everybody is able to move in the ways that they need to move. And additionally, with the noise issue, like avoid hissing, avoid waving banners, right? Because there's all sorts of things. If you don't know what to do, show up these, right? I'm sure there's lots of ways that we can communicate to each other without needing to rely on something that's going to hurt somebody
Look at Leroy.
else.
Leroy
we have
at the
quiet
same
rooms
time.
that are available. There's a range of options.
Watch that
these, right?
Dude,
please don't go
watch that on replay. At the exact same time, we're like, boom, here you go.
space with anything that's like
I'd like
an aggressive
to bring a
scent.
freaking air horn in there.
For instance, right? Because we don't want to put people in stressful situations that they don't consent to, right? And there are right-wing infiltrators who are trying to get in here, but it's going to be really traumatic for people if we're not making an affirmative effort to de-escalate each other and de-escalate ourselves, right? Take a deep breath. Feel better before you say anything. Don't really talk to anybody who doesn't have a credential, especially if they claim to be from the press. You have no idea who that person is. Please do not talk to anybody who identifies themselves as a member of the press without having credentials. Don't talk to cops. Don't talk to MAGA assholes. We're almost there.
Thanks for cheering.
Hands up, son of a
thank
bitches.
you. We are going to be visited tomorrow by some MAGA protesters. Is there anybody here who's done abortion clinic escort work? By all means, don't talk to cops if there are cops there for any reason at all, right? And if you do see someone talking to cops, let the marshals No. We are safe and we are strong because there's power in collective work.
Wow, that's right out of the lips of Marx.
So,
Yeah, the extra noise is triggering Higgs' anxiety unless they're, cheering for once something he said. Wow.
I want everyone to do me.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Me, she, her. I would like to put my opinion out there.
Point of
That
order,
was really
comrade.
funny that he said that he had to refer to himself so that, like, what if you're in conversation with your buddy later and you're like, oh, did you listen to he, him, and you're like
who?
What the hell else would I have called
You
the
mean
dude?
you mean Bob?
Dude had a beard. Yeah.
See, but this is what Apple became, and that's why I had to get the fuck out. I was done. If you have not had a chance to watch this video, this quickly is a video I did on Joy Reid, and I just want to share a quick segment with you, and then I want you to go out and watch it because it's 20 minutes of commentary on Joy Reid.
That's pretty funny.
It's dare I say it's pretty good. But here's just an interesting little segment where I compare her to Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder because she looks like Simple Jack. Here it is.
You're saying that people can't make a decision when they're 8.
I've got a good brain. You make me happy. Here you go. To have a firearm or a gun, but you're saying they can lop off their penis or cut off their breast when they're 6 years old. What you do, and speak. We don't ban books. We simply decide that we don't want our children smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, driving a car, reading pornography, firing off weapons, joining the military, or voting before the appropriate age, and that's including books that are inappropriate. Parents still have the right to do that with our children, no matter what you say, no matter what you do. And speaking of government overreach, doesn't that sound like government overreach, that you want public schools to decide what's appropriate for our children, whether it's they're having thoughts of suicide or questioning their sexuality or want to have an abortion or want to go ahead and chemically castrate themselves. You're okay with that, but a tattoo or some piercings are off limits, huh? That makes a lot of sense. Oh, by the way, you're saying that people can't make a decision when they're 18 to have a firearm or a gun, but you're saying they can lop off their penis or cut off their breast when they're 6 years old? Joy, you make a lot of sense. In fact,
you make me happy.
Simple Joy, folks. She's in it to win it.
President DeSantis
Folks, go watch the show. It's pretty good. I think you'll enjoy it. I'm going to give my my 1 minute curtain call to Olivia, who was great tonight. Was fun. Thank you, honey. I appreciate you on here. You always
Don't you mean Amy?
Didn't I say Amy? I apologize. I finally got it right. It's okay. God. You know what? I should know because basically your boobs are concave and she actually has a pair. So I don't know why I can't figure the you two out. But go ahead, sweetie.
Whoa.
You're an A. You're an A to me. Literally.
Damn.
Kiss my ass.
I will later. Your ass is definitely better than Amy's. I'll give you that.
Jeez, dear.
I don't think
God.
you should. I'm just saying. I just being honest. There's nothing wrong with. If Ryan Reynolds walked in the door, please stop pretending that you would.
No, yeah.
Oh, JD, shut the fuck up. Everyone's like, oh, God. Oh, how dare you. Fuck off. Fuck off. I'll say whatever I want. We do this all the time. This is foreplay. Tell them, Liv.
Oh, totally.
Okay, go ahead.
Totally. Yeah, if Ryan would walk in, I'd drop you like a bad habit. Sorry, right. Love you, but see ya.
Wait, if who walked in?
Reynolds out there.
Look at JD.
Oh, God, if Ryan Reynolds
JD,
walked in, I would drop my wife.
JD, you're such a feminist. Shit. Give it up.
I've got my loyal followers apparently already.
She's been busted my balls all night. I had to get a titty joke in. Relax.
Oh,
all right.
Goodness. No pot pie tonight.
It's all right. You made it last week.
I did.
I got you to agree you're going to make it this week anyway.
I didn't buy stuff
and
at
your
the grocery
boobs
store.
are your boobs are perfect. More than a handful is a waste. So
thank you, dear.
You're welcome, sweet.
I have no idea what to say to that, but
I don't know.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Say something.
I've had a loss of words right now.
Listen, your wife, JD, your wife would kill you because you don't understand Olivia and I's sense of humor. So can you try to explain what our relationship's like?
Oh my God. Okay, if according to our children, if you look up the word sarcasm in the dictionary, you'll see our last name. That's just our entire life is all sarcasm. I mean, they both knew what the word facetious meant at the age of 3. It's us. We are constantly telling jokes and constantly just
what did Ethan say?
with each
What
other.
did Ethan say the other day? Hold on. This is good.
What were we talking about?
Oh yeah, so they were showing some sort of drink or candy, and they were eating it on a TV show. And what happened?
Shoot.
JD, you got hit with a community standard. That's why you can't react, guys. Olivia and I give each other shit all the time. Anyway, somebody
It was
was
something about diabetes and a
no. Someone was eating something that was super sweet or whatever, and he goes, "Oh, that's a one-way ticket to diabetes."
Yeah,
oh, they're like, "What does this look like to you?" And he goes, "A one-way ticket to diabetes." I mean, he's 10. So it's just a smart-ass family, and I love my wife unequivocally, but she's been busting my balls about Amy all night. So this is what I do. I take it to the next level.
Well, I wouldn't have started if you wouldn't have stopped calling me Amy. You know?
It was called a mistake. Like you put
3 times.
You threw away
3 times.
You haven't
3
gone.
times?
You haven't gone 3 times before, Bob. Remember last August, and you went to Chicago on a business trip. I nailed your wife 3 times, Bob. She said you never went 3 times
such a
before,
good
Bob.
movie.
The ref. But by the way, at least I don't throw away the $40,000 Broncos keys in the frickin' trash.
It's not my Bronco. I don't care anymore.
Whoa.
I'm like, first thing she goes, I lost my car keys, my trash. She's like, no, I didn't throw it in the trash. 7 freaking hours later, I'm like, I'm going to
last time I threw my car keys away, I was pregnant with Hayden.
No, you put them
I'm
in the
not
freezer.
pregnant. I threw them away with the trash that day.
But you
too.
also put them in the freezer too. You put your car keys in the freezer. You do it all the time.
It's called
I've done that.
mommy brain.
Everyone relax.
I've
I
done
love
that.
my wife unequivocally, but if she can't take a hit, you're a sexist. If you're like, oh, how dare you say that to a woman? You're a sexist.
Dude, he still opens doors for me and is chivalrous and polite, but
And I have to, because getting that badunkadunk through that door, I'll tell you what, it's a little bit of a challenge sometimes.
Man, you are digging
gonna
yourself
get,
a hole.
I'm going to get crushed. She's got
I'm
it,
still a size 6. Thank you very much.
but it's a great looking booty, man.
I only weigh 3 more pounds than I did
It's
pre-pregnancy.
a J-Lo booty. It's a gorgeous booty. I love your
It's the Latin side of me.
That's all right. She'll attack me. She'll say something and I'll get mad. She'll say something like about my dad and I'll be like, that's not funny.
Just like your dad.
It's just
Just like your father.
so are you. You look like your dad. So he's a handsome man. He's a handsome man. What's wrong with you, Leroy? Why can't you look like your dad? What's wrong with that? Sexist dick.
I'd look more like my mom, I think.
You look like your dad and your mom. But don't we all? We have the best features of our parents, hopefully. So all right, Leroy, hopefully. Is that good for you? Did you have anything else? Do we want to keep going or are we done? She's trying to play something and be funny. Here it is.
Let's just go. I can't think of anything. I can't.
Well, folks,
Leroy, what do you got, buddy?
Well, so what did we cover tonight? We covered the Texas ban on the kids' surgery, which, oh my God, stop trying to pitch the idea of transitioning your kids prepubescent kids. Like, stop doing it. If they haven't hit puberty yet, don't, just get that out of your minds. South Carolina in the 6-week abortion ban law, good on them for doing it. We already talked a little bit about the idea of what it means between the left and the right, between the Democrats and the Republicans, to compromise and who has compromised more. We talked about the Toronto pitcher who was forced to apologize and what that means to free speech and what that means to me in free speech.
And Toronto's not a better baseball team for it. They need all the help they can get.
They suck. And then we also talked about Matt's proclivity for claiming that, Amy is on the show when she's not. So there's that.
Well, and I should know better. If Amy was on, we would need the 16:9 window. So
yeah,
not the 4x3 square.
Other than that, folks, again, tonight's show is brought to you by the Percival Flag Company. Please,
let's not give them too much credit. I'm not getting royalties. I'm just kidding.
Give their website a look-see and see if there's anything on there that might look good on your living room wall.
Hey, do the one that you haven't done in a while, which is the red thing behind you. What's the It's not Canine.
Oh, the Spikes
Do
Canine
that
Fund?
one. Yeah, you've done PFC like 4 times. They get plenty
I'll
of
say
love
this.
from
That's a very personal. That's a very personal prop for me. Long story short was that we had a senior chief that was retiring, and upon his retirement, he hired the guy to come out and give a talk, and it was this guy here, and I would know because I got him to autograph the book. Wait, oh, wrong page. Doesn't matter.
like
But
there
it
was no
was
autograph
done
there.
by Jimmy
Fake
Hatch.
news.
And Jimmy Hatch was amazing. And one of his passions in life, I'm going to find that page where he signed it. Yeah, there it is. And one of his passions in life was for this organization that he stood up called Spikes Canine Fund.org. And what that organization does is they, if you buy a T-shirt, if you buy anything from their site, and again, it's spikescaninefund.org. What they do is they send any of the profits from that over to the organizations that would buy bulletproof vests for the dogs to go overseas, or any of the surgeries for when they come back and if they get injured. And I could not say enough good things about that organization. It was really, really heart touching. As someone who is a dog owner, you look into a set of eyes like that and you go, there is something there. That is not just an animal. They know things. And so, to be able to contribute towards an organization that fronts the enough money to give these dogs the needed surgeries that they may need, post a deployment, I found that to be incredibly heartwarming.
What's the name of it so people know?
It's spikescaninefund.org. Are you looking it up?
Well, no, I just
There
wanted
it
to
is.
know. Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously donations are $5 a month, 25, 100, 250. Pretty reasonable. $5 a month. Everyone can afford that. What does that come to? 6 cents a day? No, more than that. 18, 20 cents a day. That's nothing. I mean, instead of buying a freaking Starbucks every day, one day don't buy a Starbucks and give them $5. 456 canines trained, 32 school sessions held, 11 construction for canines, 1,076 custom fit ballistic vests donated, 261 critical medical treatments, 261 heat alarms donated, 2,207 canines helped. This is amazing. Go on over and help these guys. Take care of them. $5 a month. That's no big deal.
I just, what, when I was thinking about the idea of that particular charitable organization, I always tend to think of it in terms of my dog, right? And that's what everyone does, right? When you think of some sort of charitable thing for your kid, you think of your kid. That's how you associate that kind of thing. And I always think, God, what would I do to make sure that my dog was around a little bit longer, or that my dog had this piece of life-saving equipment while she was going off to fight for, whatever, for our freedoms. And absolutely just fell in love with that organization.
Well, go take a look, folks. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. Stop by and give a little bit of money. I mean, like I said, it's one coffee. Tonight's show is brought to you by PFC Flags. PFC Flags are the flags behind Olivia and I. We care about them. They are great people. Jason and Katie are good friends of the family. They have donated the flags to the show. Go take a look. They have a beautiful set of flags, all sorts of different ones for you. Small, large, big, and everything else. Leroy, Amy, thanks for being on tonight. We love you guys. Or, excuse me.
Amy?
Leroy,
Amy?
Olivia, and Lee. Oh, did I do Amy again? Did I mean to do that? I don't know. I don't think I meant to do. Look at her face. She's so pissed. I just love it.
Oh, my God.
Was that good? Did that feel?
She's going to beat your ass.
It's called payback. It's called payback, so bitch.
Payback for what? You started it.
It was a mistake, and you kept rubbing it in.
No,
so
I did it after you called me Amy the third time.
it was a nonchalant thing. I figured you would really appreciate it if I did it a fourth time.
Damn. All right, I'm going to go because
oh God. What's the payback? Hold on. Can you tell everyone what the payback's going to be? Because I want to know what I should expect. Are you going to use teeth? Don't use don't use teeth. Don't use teeth. Please, for the love of God. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. We have a blast here. Oh, I love you. The greatest wife in the world. The shit she puts up with, man. I love you so much. I love you.
I'm just gonna start randomly calling you ex-boyfriends' names.
It doesn't matter. They ain't got shit on me, so I don't care. But that was fun. All right, everybody. God bless for Leroy, for Olivia, for me, and Amy, who is not here. We love you. We'll see you guys on Friday night. Remember, wear red on Friday. We won't be here tonight. What are we doing tomorrow night, Olivia?
I don't remember.
We're playing
Recorded
Diablo.
show, right, Olivia?
I remember.
We might stream a little Diablo for you guys.
The kids are fending for themselves tomorrow.
All right. I love you guys. Appreciate you. And for the people who are upset, grow up. This is my wife. She's amazing. I love her, and everyone knows. Good night, everybody. God bless, and we'll see you Friday night. See you.
Good night, dummies. Love you guys.
I'm David Boreanaz with the
Good
cast
job,
of
Leroy.
SEAL
Thanks,
Team.
guy. Bye.
And we have an important message for returning vets.
We want you to know if you're struggling to cope, there's help, and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice in service to our country. We're able to enjoy our freedoms because of it.
Your service is important. You are important.
For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call